Nebraska and Oklahoma, and today you've got Utah and Brigham Young. Welcome to Cougar Stadium. Hi everybody, I'm Craig Bowler-Jack along with Blaine Fowler, and the topic, or one of the topics of this game today, will be at the quarterback position. Frank Dolce broke his ankle last week, Blaine, and today the start goes on the shoulders of Mike Richmond for Utah.
And Richmond, while he's not a stranger to starting for the Utes, he has started for them. In fact, he's not a stranger to starting against BYU. He came in for an injured Scott Mitchell and had a big afternoon against BYU in a losing cause, throwing for 4 touchdowns and over 390 yards a couple of years back. They will, however, miss Dolce. They'll miss his mobility. They'll miss his ability to throw on the run. BYU will try to pressure the quarterback, and Dolce is a man that has been calm back there as he rolls around. He's been able to throw on the run, and he'll be sorely missed this afternoon.
Now, this is a game that matches the #1 passing defense in the conference, Utah, against the #1 passing offense in the conference, BYU. Ty Detmer going to work again today.
And it'll be a great matchup. Why is Utah the #1 passing defense? I believe it's because of their quickness on the front and their linebackers. When they blitz, they have such great athletic ability. Jimmy Bellamy on the defensive line and Davis at linebacker with outstanding speed. And they will try to be in Ty Detmer's face this afternoon, try to put pressure on him. The reason they can do that is because Levon Edwards, Sharif Shaw, that whole defensive secondary has great quickness and great speed. And they can play man-to-man coverage back there and do a good job as you blitz that quarterback.
Now, Blaine, there is no question motivation will not be hard to find today. Both teams, when you come in and play a Utah-BYU game, that's motivation enough. However, today we've got a little bit of a different story. Both teams with an opportunity to play in postseason play.
And this is the first time in a long time that Utah and BYU come into a game with an opportunity to play in bowl games. BYU got an early bid to the Holiday Bowl last week and then found out that they have to win this football game to control their own destiny in terms of their bid to that bowl game. Utah has a must-win situation if they are to be considered for the Copper Bowl, and so both teams a lot riding on this football game, not just because it's a rivalry, but because they want to play in postseason.
All right, it is a very sunny day, but very cool here in Provo. Doug Miller, he'll be walking the sidelines today, and Doug, this place got a couple inches of snow last night.
Yeah, they had the field covered until just before the game. They swept the snow off. Field's in great condition. One thing that will not be a factor today is the field. You can hear the Utes cheering down here in the north end zone. Utah just coming out for the coin toss just a couple of minutes away. You see a sea of blue. This place will set a new record today for a season attendance here at Cougar Stadium. All the way across the sea of blue and into the north end zone, you see this little swath of red over here. 1,500 Ute fans today. I'll tell you, Craig, are going to be doing their part to root on this rivalry.
All right, Doug Miller, what do you say? Let's get it going. Kickoff between the Utes and Cougars coming up. You got the best seat in the house. We'll be right back.
KSL Television Sports presents BYU Football. Brought to you by your local Weinigers, Allen Super Save, Bestway, Food Town, Macy's, and Thriftway stores, members of Associated Food Stores. By your Wasatch Front Ford dealer, where you can see the 1992 lineup of quality Ford cars and trucks. By New Skin International, excellence in personal care products from people who care. And by Geneva Steel.
It is one thing for a new car company to promise the highest standard of product quality, dealer service, and customer satisfaction. But quite another when Infinity buyers agreed the promise was kept. It is a measure of performance, and happily, one that is also equaled on the road.
Our 6-inch meatball sub for $1.69 is 4 meatballs and Italian sauce. I've never been to Italy, but I know some people have. We bake bread here every day. I come in real early. Also, there's cheese, onions, everything. Just point and it's yours. This has hot peppers because it's mine. I like things spicy.
For 25 years, Subway has quietly made some of the best sandwiches anywhere. Like the 6-inch meatball sub. Only $1.69, only at Subway.
Some folks might think it's a bit unusual to travel nearly 700 miles to Utah just to buy furniture. But those folks probably never bought furniture at R.C. Willey like we have.
They're home.
What makes the furniture store that special? Huge selection, their own credit, and the people, they just treat us right. Sure, there are other furniture stores, but there's only one I'd drive 700 miles to.
No matter what your needs, no matter what size, Reinhardt Oil has the Exxon oils and lubricants for your business. Reinhardt Oil, the Intermountain West's leading supplier to industrial, mining, and trucking. Reinhardt Oil, the Intermountain West's petroleum professionals.
And welcome back to Provo, Utah, Cougar Stadium, a snow-capped Wasatch Mountain Range on this cool afternoon in November. And we're ready to play football. It's a big rivalry, the first one back in 1922, the 67th meeting between the Utes and Cougars, and expect a good one. It's a 15.5-point spread in favor of BYU, but on a day like this, throw out the books in my book, Blaine Fowler. It's college football rivalry at its best.
And I don't think that the point spread established by Las Vegas gives enough credit to that Ute defense. I think that they're a very physical group, a very quick group on defense, and they could give BYU some problems with their passing game.
I'll tell you, watching emotion yesterday at the Ute practice, the last practice, emotion's a big part of it. Of course, that comes into play with any rivalry.
Well, this crowd of over 65,000 still making its way into Cougar Stadium. And today's kickoff is brought by FHP Healthcare. When you want quality, value, and convenience from your health plans, choose FHP. The Utes won the toss. They won it, though, in the second half, so they will kick away. And back to receive the kick, Eric Mortensen and Brad Clark. Field in good condition. The sun came out and thawed it out. Clark and Mortensen awaits the kick, and we're underway. Mortensen at his own 7-yard line. Fumbles the football, still on the ground. It's loose at the 20-yard line, and the Utes say they have it, and they do. Utah on the turnover.
And what a huge turnover that is, Craig. When you win the toss and elect to defer, you hope to just stop them on defense. Now Utah basically gets the ball in great field position, and they'll also have the ball coming out in the second half. This is what happens on cold days. Mortensen's got gloves on both of those hands, you'll notice. He comes up, and he's just going to be stripped. Just trying to see who that was by. That was Errol Martin that made that strip as he just slapped it out of Mortensen's loosely held hands. He had that ball held low loosely, and Martin just slapped it away.
So the Utes start up on their own at the Cougar 20-yard line at quarterback, and across the middle, touchdown, ROWLEY from Richmond. And the Utes have struck. Mike Richmond, who 2 years ago started in place of Scott Mitchell, he tagged the Cougars for 4 touchdowns that afternoon back in 1989, and the Utes on the scoreboard with just 11 seconds run off the clock as we start this football game.
Nothing fancy about that, Craig. They were just playing man-to-man in the secondary, and it's going to be very difficult for Josh Arnold to try to cover Brian ROWLEY man for man unless he's got help from the free safety down the middle. We talked about Brian ROWLEY in our pregame show, probably the finest receiver on the football field today, and he will hurt you man on man.
Jurgensen in to kick the point after. It's up and through the uprights, and the Utes have quieted this crowd down here at Cougar Stadium. A 20-yard pass from Richmond to ROWLEY, and the Utes take the lead 7-0. Back at Cougar Stadium, Craig Bowler, Jack, Blaine Fowler, and Doug Miller with you this afternoon. If you just tuned in, you just missed a 20-yard touchdown from Richmond to ROWLEY after a fumble by Mortensen on the opening kickoff. Pulsifer kicks it away again and again. It's Mortensen at the 5. And he's tackled down at the 21-yard line. That's where Ty Detmer and company will start the afternoon. Ty Detmer, the senior who won the Heisman a year ago out of San Antonio, Texas. Our scores updates are brought to you by Warner Christensen Chevrolet Buick Geo. We make car buying easy.
Flag down back at the 40. The Utes may have been offside on the kickoff.
Here's a look at Ty Detmer. I'll tell you one thing about this BYU offense, Craig. As long as Ty Detmer is in that huddle, the offense never lacks for confidence. They don't care if they're 7 points down, 14 points down, or 28 points down, as we saw last week. They believe in Ty Detmer. He believes in himself. They think they can score regardless of who's playing.
Kicking team. See a 5-yard penalty. We'll kick it again.
So the Cougars elect to take the penalty. Pulsifer will kick it away again at the 30. I tell you what, 14:43 left in the first quarter, and Pulsifer will kick for the third time already.
He's going to be tired before the end of the first quarter, Craig.
Pulsifer shares kicking duties with Chris Jurgensen. The punter, Steve Young. And watch out for their punt return man, Levon Edwards. There's Coach Ron McBride in his second season.
He's styling in that hat this afternoon.
He's worn that all week, in fact. I don't know if that's his lucky hat or what, but he needs it this afternoon. It is a cold, nippy day.
Somebody gave it to him before the game with UTEP last weekend. Said brought him good luck last weekend, and he's said the best thing about it all week is it's kept his head warm.
Well, the Utes won that game 10-9, while the Cougars came back with a miraculous comeback to tie San Diego State 52-all. Brad Clark at the 3, drops the football, picks it back up, and the Utes are going to down him at the 18-yard line, so the Cougars make the Utes kick, and they lose 3 yards on that decision. Here's our 7-11 Citgo starting lineup this afternoon. Detmer will call the signals. Drage, Matsuzaki, and Rex, his main receivers in the backfield. Mortensen and Tui Pelotu. You will see Jamal Willis quite a bit today in the backfield. Ladd May, Pei Touche, and Brumfield today. Blaine gets the start for Eli Herring, who's out with a knee injury.
Right, Eli has the same knee injury that Steve Young of the 49ers has. Just a ligament damage, strained.
Drage in motion on first down. Tui Pelotu on the draw play. They get back to the original line of scrimmage, second down 10. And that starting lineup for the Utah Utes: Embry, Bellamy, Chadors, and Ellis. Luther Ellis today gets the start in place of Blaine Berger. A couple of good linebackers, Davis and Martin. The left cornerback is Swanson, along with a nickelback, Reggie Alston. He'll hit you, along with Miller, Sharif Shaw, and Levon Edwards. There's a couple of good football players. Detmer second down, a loss of 1 on that draw to Tui Pelotu. Detmer under pressure, intercepted at the 20-yard line. That ball picked off by number 42, Todd Lawson. His second pick of the day, or of the season, and 2 back-to-back turnovers, and the Utes back in business at the Cougar 19. And for Ty Detmer, his 11th interception of the season.
And there wasn't a lot of pressure on Detmer that time. He was trying to go outside to his tight end coming across, but look what happens. Jamal Willis and Byron Rex are both in the same spot. Now, when you have 2 receivers in the same spot, you don't put any stretch on that defense. Todd Lawson able to come underneath and make that interception.
He's a senior. Flags are down, and into the end zone goes Richmond, incomplete, but a flag down back at the 24-yard line. Offsides against BYU. And our 7-11 Citgo starting lineup for the Utah Utes offense: Richmond at quarterback, Murray the tight end, Williams, and he's a good one. Rokini gets a start at fullback, Hoffman the slot back, and the wideout ROWLEY, who's already pulled in a touchdown this afternoon. And up front, Daly McNitt, Barton, Maafala, and Mike DeHogue. Maafala, by the way, is a true freshman, the left guard, number 68. Second down, check that 1st and 5, and the pitch goes back to Keith Williams, and he's stuffed and pulled down at the 14-yard line. Boy, Williams, what a season he's had. 500-yard games up front for the Cougars. Brock, Gomes, and Pitts. 4 linebackers who can really play some football. Levitt, Beagle, Hansen, and Scotty Giles. He's the sack leader on this Cougar team. And in the backfield, you've got Crutchfield, Arnold, Dewey Gray, Mr. Spock, along with the freshman Patrick Mitchell.
You know, BYU with a problem with defensive backs that they had and not having Irvin Lee and Pitts to go to, that not only affects you when you have to start a freshman at corner, but you also don't have that nickel back to go to, and so depth has been a problem for them.
All right, timeout on the field. Richmond wants to talk it over. 13-14 to play, and the Utes up 7, and they're driving. We'll be back. In Provo, Utah, Cougar Stadium, the Utes lead at 7-0. And they're driving again at the Cougar 14. 2 back-to-back turnovers to start this game for Brigham Young. In the shotgun is Mike Richmond, the senior from Redley, California. A second down and 5. Flips the ball near side, incomplete to the slot back, Greg Hoffman. Hoffman's a player, a sophomore out of Pocatello, Idaho.
I'll tell you what I've been impressed about Hoffman is his leaping ability. He can really get up in the air. He has almost a 35-inch vertical jump for a tight end. You know, you see defensive backs and wide receivers with that. For a tight end, that is just phenomenal.
You know, I can get up about 15.
Well, if they can slide a piece of paper under my feet when I jump, they're lucky.
Third down 5 on the Cougar 14. Richmond back in the shotgun. The Cougars chasing, and Richmond loses the football. And he's pulled down by Greg Pitts, the freshman out of Provo. But a flag down in the defensive half of the field after the 12-yard line.
BYU said they wanted to be more aggressive on defense this week. You see that they bring the linebackers that time. You see Giles coming and Nickel coming to put pressure on Richmond. You have to give credit to that secondary this time. They had confidence enough in him to let him play man-to-man, and they had good coverage.
That sack by Pitts could be wiped out. Let's see what the call will be. You see a flag back in the that part of the football field. You're thinking maybe a defensive holding. I think what happened, Richmond wanted to throw back across the field against the grain as he rolled to his left. He wanted to go back to the far side of the football field.
Sometimes as you're out there playing man-to-man defense, you feel a little bit desperate. You start to get beat. You reach out and latch on to someone. No, I didn't see one, but I wasn't looking at the top of the field, and that's where the flag came. And that's probably what happened. Somebody runs an out and up. They go out and they start to break up on you, and you're beat. You reach out and grab a hold and hope you don't get caught.
That's an automatic first down. The Utes at the Cougar 7-yard line. First and goal. And now the Utes will re-huddle. 12:50 to play, first quarter, and it's been a wild start here. The 67th meeting between the Utes and Cougars. You never know what to expect in a football game like this. Doug Miller, how about the sideline? What's Utah's reaction right now? Having some problems with Doug's mic. There's the officiating crew today. Guy Gibbs, the referee.
Guy Gibbs, a real veteran official. He knows his stuff. He's been around a long time, does a good job. Now, if you would have told the Utah Ute coaching staff that they would get the football on the 20 on their first drive, on the 15 on their second drive, they would have said, you're crazy, it just won't happen. So a couple of gifts here early, and they've got to feel good about that.
Ron McBride looking in. Another flag down on the field. Somebody jumped on the far side. That's Scott Murray, the tight end, number 86. March it back 5 yards to the 13 of Brigham Young. First down, goal to goal as Ron McBride, his second year. He's 11 wins, 11 losses since taking over for Jim Fossil. And this is a team really, too, Blaine, that has switched players' roles. They were recruited as tight ends who moved to defensive ends and linebackers who became, defensive tackles. It's really been an interesting reassortment of talent at Utah.
And as Rocky Beagle makes that tackle, that's an excellent observation, Craig. What has been most impressive about what McBride has done, particularly with that defense, is he has taken players that were playing out of position. They're playing defense, and he felt they were more suited to offensive line blocking and what have you. And he moved those players around, a great eye for talent, got those players where they belonged and where they would contribute the best, and he's turned the program around because of that.
We got the heaters going on the sideline today. 12 minutes even. First quarter. Keith Williams picked up a couple. Second down, 10. And second, now a timeout again by Richmond. Well, they've used up 2 quick timeouts here.
You don't want to just have one timeout left with 11:50 left in the first quarter, Craig. They may need that at the end of the half. They had their chance to get set up. They came to the line of scrimmage. Richmond wanted to audible. There was only 2 seconds left on the play clock. They just took too long getting out of the huddle that time, and he was forced to take that second timeout.
Look at the Cougars. What a year they put together after the 3 losses to Florida State, UCLA, and Penn State. They won 7 in a row after the slow start. Last week's game against San Diego State, you put that one in the highlight reel and the record books for a long time. 52 all tied. Detmer, 599 yards. And UTEP played Utah pretty tough last week. It was a defensive struggle. Utah winning 10-9, which really set up this game, which makes them still eligible for a Copper Bowl berth.
Yeah, UTEP does not get a lot of credit because of their past history, but I think they're a very fine football team this year with some good athletes. And San Diego State, in my opinion, is the most underrated football team in America right now. They've lost a close game to Air Force, who is a great football team. They lost to UCLA, and they tied BYU. That's not a bad job, and they have some tremendous athletes down there. I believe San Diego State is probably one of the top 25 teams in the country right now.
All right, Richmond back under center. Second down, goal to goal. Richmond wants to go to the end zone, and he's got a man and knocked out of bounds. Patrick Mitchell, the freshman, on the coverage. It will be third down and goal at the Cougar 10-yard line.
Shows you the kind of concentration that BRYAN ROWLEY has. Even though he came down out of bounds, that ball was pretty tall, and Patrick Mitchell not in bad position. ROWLEY went down, faked to the post, and went on a corner route. Mitchell did not bite on that post, was in good position, was there to push him out of bounds, and you're going to see he comes out about a yard and a half wide of the back of that end zone. The official's in good position to make the call.
ROWLEY's a good one, the top receiver on this Utah team. 189 yards and receptions this year again, and complete to the near side to ROWLEY. Crutchfield on coverage, so the Utes will be forced to try a field goal.
And what made that coverage possible, Craig, was they put pressure on the quarterback. Richmond had to throw that off his back foot. He didn't have any time. ROWLEY had barely made his break on Crutchfield, and Richmond had already thrown the football. He had to get rid of it just a second early, and that's what BYU has to do if they're going to contain ROWLEY out there in man-to-man coverage.
So in to try the field goal is Chris Jurgensen. He is 12 of 19. The ball will be marked down at the 18-yard line. A 28-yard try. A good snap, and Jurgensen boots it through, and the Utes have built a 10-point lead. So the 2 turnovers have produced 10 points for Utah. And right now this crowd very quiet except for the 1,500 Utah fans who, I guess you could call those the nickel seats.
That's right. They brought the band with them to allow for a little more noise coming out of that northwest corner of the end zone. There you see them in red. They've got the band there.
All right, Doug Miller, the mic fixed, I believe. Let's check him out. Doug?
They got some heaters along the BYU bench here, but nobody's really used them. Ty Detmer through that series sat on the bench. Peter Tuipulotu at one time sat next to him. Detmer's got that hand warmer across his middle, but it's not really that cold. It's now in the upper 30s here on the field, and it's not uncomfortable, bare hands and a light jacket. So great day, and I don't think cold hands are really that big a factor right now, Craig.
Pulsifer to kick for the 4th time. And he drops the ball inside the 5. Mortensen lets it go, picks it up at the 6. And the Cougars are going to be deep in their own territory to start this drive at the 11-yard line. We talked about special teams in our pregame show and gave the go-ahead, or at least the check mark on the Cougar side of the field. And so far, they've struggled on special teams play.
They really have, and Lavelle Edwards hit the nail right on the head in our pregame show. If you tuned in early enough to catch that, when Doug Miller asked him what he thought the difference might be, he said whoever turns the ball over more and whoever plays better on special teams will probably come out victorious. And so far, Utah's done the better job in both categories.
Cougars line up triple wide out to the right side. The lone back is Tui Pelotu. Detmer on the roll. Feels pressure, and he's going to be tackled out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Number 48 for Utah, Preston Christensen, his 4th quarterback sack of the season. And Detmer trying to roll out behind his big offensive line. He was closed down in a hurry by Christensen.
And Brian May was out there. He just completely missed. You see him look back inside. He never even picked up Christensen. Instead, he went out and took a block on Jimmy Bellamy, worrying about him. When you're out there and you have 2 men to block, you have to take the most dangerous man. And obviously, Christensen, closest to Detmer, was the man to take. May elected to take Bellamy, and thus you get the sack.
Hey, when Bellamy comes into a game with 15 QB sacks, sure, you're going to take a look at him more than once. Detmer buying some time, rolls out of the end zone, got a man open. Drage at the 40. He may go. 40, 30, 20. Touchdown, Drage, but a flag down back in the end zone.
They're going to call roughing the passer on Utah. So
if that stands, and it does, a 98-yard touchdown from Ty Detmer to Eric Drage.
Lavelle Edwards showing one of the few signs of emotion I've ever seen there. He was out on the field ready to protest that penalty. When he realized it was roughing the passer, both hands went up in the air. He stomped the field. You could see he was really enjoying the payoff.
And the beauty of that play, Craig, as we watched Drage race to the end zone, was Drage was on a post route. Detmer let the ball go. That's the earliest I've ever seen them throw that post corner. He let it go. Drage took 2 more steps on the post and then broke to the corner, and as soon as he turned, the ball was right on him. Detmer threw that on a full run to his right. That was a perfect touch pass. And how about having 1 completion for 98 yards? That's not bad for your statistics.
After a 599-yard performance last week, Keith Lever will try the point after. Earl Kaufman was having some leg problems, and Lever, after Kaufman missed the PAT last week, came in and booted 5 in a row. Now there's Lavelle Edwards in his 20th year at BYU. 98 yards. The 31st touchdown pass of the season for Detmer. His streak continues. That's now 35 straight games he's thrown a touchdown pass. Lever boots it through, and the Cougars have cut the lead down to 3. 10:31 to play in a wild first quarter. The Utes 10 and the Cougars 7. We'll be right back. Back at Cougar Stadium after a 98-yard touchdown toss from Detmer to Drage. Lever will kick it away. And the ball taken by Shaver, and he's got to run it out. Now, see what happened? He caught that ball, I believe, a yard in front of the goal line. But now they say touchback.
The ruling on that is, Craig, if the momentum of the football carries you into the end zone, you will be considered touchback if you don't bring it out. So it was a wide decision. We're taking a look at that touchdown, and that's almost impossible to cover if you're a defensive back. And Lawson was back there trying to make that coverage. If when the ball's midway there, your receiver is still on a post, all of a sudden turns around and the ball is there, you're just pretty much helpless man-to-man out there if the throw is that perfect.
After this replay, Lavelle Edwards is on the football field along with Tom Ramage.
Now there you see on that replay what happened. He came out, Vernon Shaver stepped the foot out to the 1-yard line and then backed in. That is a safety. Now the momentum did carry him into the end zone. However, he elected to bring it out. He came a foot out of the end zone and then back into the end zone. You cannot do that, and that should be a safety.
And both coaches are getting some explanations. Robbie Bosco there in your picture, and Lavelle seems to be satisfied with the call.
I just checked with one of the linesmen here, and he says that he's not sure. He didn't hear the discussion, but he thinks that would be the case. Looking at the play, he said that's probably what the call was. I think that's what Guy Gibbs just explained to Lavelle Edwards on the field.
Are you saying the momentum took him into the end zone?
That's right.
But he still did come out and put a foot over the line.
He came out after he caught the ball. He elected to come out and then changed his mind after he stepped out. It looks as if they're going to mark the ball on the 1-foot line. However, no BYU player tackled Shaver at the 1. He backed in under his own power into the end zone, and then they touched him. That should be a safety if they call it right. But what they're going to do is they're going to mark it out and say that his forward progress on the catch was out there to the 1-yard line. Interesting decision, Craig. He did step out of that end zone after the momentum had taken him back in.
So the Utes start up at the 1-yard line. A quick hit off the left side. And a pickup of 2 as the football goes to Steve Abrams, who was questionable today. But Abrams in there at the fullback spot. Coming up on the 10-minute mark, folks. What a wild start to this game. 10-7 Utes. We've seen flags, we've seen controversy, we've seen 2 turnovers, and we've seen a 98-yard touchdown bomb from Detmer to Drage. Flags are down. And, ooh, what a shot by Dewey Gray. And he lowered the boom on Charlie Brown, number 23, the sophomore out of San Diego, California. But a flag back at the 4-yard line.
Blitz was coming then, and it may have been that either one of BYU defenders coming for the blitz got into that neutral zone, or it may have been somebody on the near side that reacted to it.
As we saw that hit at the end of the replay there, Derwin Gray gonna let Charlie Brown know that he was there, and you can see those pointed ears brought radar Derwin Gray into the play that time.
Brian Rowley being helped off the field. The official stat is that was a 97-yard touchdown pass, and that ties the WAC record along with a new stadium record here in Provo. 97 yards officially. Ty Detmer to Eric Drage. Let's pick up the call.
We have illegal motion on the offensive team. Still second down.
McBride having a little discussion.
Well, they marked the ball wrong. They put the ball down about a foot off the goal line. The half distance to the goal is about the 3-yard line, and McBride said, "Hey, whose stick are you using?"
So far, we've seen 6 flags for a total of 42 yards and penalties. The Utes flagged 4 times, the Cougars twice. 9:37 to play. First quarter. Second down, 9 at the Cougar 3. And nothing on that play. Rocky Beagle coming up off the pile along with Shad Hansen. Well, those 2 players, what a year they've turned in. Totaled it up. 257 total tackles Hansen and Beagle have been on this year.
That is an astounding number, Craig. They really are active there in the middle. That's an interesting call there. They go with just a called quarterback sneak. There was not a fumbled exchange or anything. Richmond just went with a sneak. And Hansen and Beagle happened to be up in blitz position that time. You would think Richmond would want to get out of that play. I certainly wouldn't want to run head-on into Hansen and Beagle.
On third down, Giles comes in with the heavy rush, and the ball dropped by Charlie Brown at the 3-yard line. Had he caught that ball, there was some running room on the far side of the football field. But the Utes will now have to kick it away deep. in their own territory.
And this was the perfect call. BYU coming in blitz again. They've been very aggressive on defense. They brought all 4 linebackers, which means that if you can sneak a back out like Charlie Brown, he's going to be uncovered until a secondary man can come up. If he makes that catch, he definitely would get the first down. And if he could break 1 tackle by Crutchfield, Brown is off to the races.
Steve Young with his work cut out for him here. He's about an inch or 2 inside the back stripe of the end zone. Young with a 40.3 yard per average kick, and he turns it over. Brad Clark watches it bounce. It takes a U-hop, and Clark at the 45 and tackled out of bounds at the 43. So BYU will start up with good field position.
Clark made a wise decision on that one, Craig. He could have let that go, but that had some real momentum rolling down the field. Probably would have gone another 15 or 20 yards, so he saved him when he considered he returned the ball a good 30 yards by picking that one up.
Utah with the 10-7 lead. Only the second time the Cougars have been on offense and the Utes in on the defensive side. 8:32 to play, opening quarter. Detmer on the roll, spots a man open, going for his tight end, and Rex dives and misses at the 20-yard line. Good coverage back there by the Utes' Lavon Edwards, and what a player he is. The career interception leader at Utah, 16 career picks.
And the reason he's so good back there is because he has great acceleration to the ball. He has good speed, but he seems to have another gear when the ball is in the air, and he's able to close on receivers. And they were just playing zone back there. Ty Detmer would have had to make a perfect throw to get it in between Lavon Edwards and Shavers.
Little delayed draw. Jamal Willis hops and skips down to the 35-yard line. Our first look at Jamal Willis. He's a freshman out of Las Vegas. Tell you what, both Utah and BYU with some good running backs. You got Tui Pelotu and Willis. And on the other side of the field, Keith Williams, who is the first Ute to rush for over 1,000 yards since Eddie Johnson. EJ did it back in '86.
Jamal Willis, just tremendous talent for a freshman, and he's just been learning the offense bit by bit this year, and he's been more and more involved each week.
The confidence he runs with reminds you of just a veteran senior, doesn't he? Jamal off the left side. Hammers his way down inside the 30-yard line. A first down for Brigham Young.
You know, up to last week, a lot of people would come up to me during the week and say, can Jamal Willis catch? Can he catch? You know, we never see him catch the football. He's a great runner, as you're going to see here. He picks his holes well, and he's got good power, but can he catch the football? And for our viewers at home, if they watched that football game last week, Jamal Willis showed everyone that he can catch the football. It has just been a matter of him learning the routes and how to go against different defenses, and he'll be more active in the passing game today.
A first down for BYU. Willis back to the ground and nowhere to roam. He was tripped up there by Preston Christensen, number 48, linebacker. He walked on this Ute football team, played some JC ball at Rick's.
And Christensen does a nice job. They were going to crack down on him with Tyler Anderson, the wide receiver, and also try to hook him with the tight end Byron Rex. And Christensen just split that double team, got low, did not allow himself to be pushed out, and made that tackle. That was a good play.
No gain on the play, and Detmer steps back in the shotgun for the first time today. The quick flip, the slant pattern to Matsuzaki, and he's near a first down at the 20-yard line. Tackled by the right corner, Ed Miller.
First pass complete to Micah Matsuzaki.
As we've watched the Cougars, Blaine, this year, slant is a key word in their offensive scheme of things.
It really is, and what happens is they're going to read that one on the run. That was not the design route, and that's what the shotgun allows you to do. Utah came up late with a blitz after Detmer had already got his signals out, so they couldn't audible out. Matsuzaki reads the defense at the same time as Detmer. He knows he's got man-to-man coverage. Detmer has to get the ball off quickly. He'll have enough time in the shotgun, and he just throws that slant underneath.
Off the right side goes Peter Tui Pelotu, bangs his way down to the 15-yard line. A 5-yard gain for Peter T. Top rusher on this team, number 2 in receiving. Tuipulotu, a senior out of San Mateo, California.
BYU just getting physical here. They've improved their running game as the season has gone on, and Tuipulotu just a punishing physical runner. You see as he takes on the defensive backs. Now, Levon Edwards is a good hitter, but Peter Tuipulotu just dished one out to him. And Edwards was holding on for some help.
Reggie Alston also there to put a lick on Peter Tuipulotu. Delayed draw back to Peter T. Cuts it off the left side and wraps up. Boy, Christensen so far really active at that linebacker spot. He wraps up Tuipulotu around the shoelaces.
Christensen and number 83, Luther Ellis.
Christensen active from his linebacker position. Luther Ellis also in on that tackle, and he played off the block of Garrett Touge, a big offensive lineman for BYU. That left guard played down the line and forced that play wider than it was designed to go.
Second down, 9, back to the shotgun. Drage in motion. Plenty of time. Detmer in the pocket. Tyler Anderson tied up by Mark Swanson. The crowd wanted a flag, but the officials say no. It will be third down.
And Detmer went to Anderson. The Utes blitzed again, leaving man-to-man coverage, and Jamal Willis had released out of the backfield. And just as Charlie Brown was wide open for the Utes in the last series, Willis was completely uncovered out there. Detmer just wasn't able to spot him, had to get the ball off too quickly.
Anderson, the one receiver on this Cougar football team with speed, the breakaway style. Matsuzaki in the slot to the right on third down. Detmer in the pocket under pressure, skips out of a tackle, pumps once, he's going to run it. The 10, the 5, cuts it inside, touchdown. Detmer runs it in. Mr. Nimble. His 4th touchdown by way of the ground this year.
And Craig, some quarterbacks, when they begin to scramble, you can be pretty confident that they're going to run the ball. They don't have good vision downfield. Now watch Luther Ellis, 83. He's going to come off, and he's going to have a shot at Detmer, but because he knows Detmer's a threat to throw, he slowed up just for a second when Detmer raised that ball up. That allowed him to get it in the end zone. He's always a threat to throw, even when he's on the run. You've got to respect that.
I don't know if you saw, there was a good seal block by Tim Nowatzki, the freshman, number 42, and the extra point good. So after a fumbling start by the Cougars, they've come back with 2 quick touchdowns. And Ty's on the phone. BYU leads it 14-10.
We're going to take a look at that again. This would have been, it was great coverage in the secondary, and the pass protection was pretty good. It broke down after the coverage was good. What happens when you're playing man-to-man in the secondary, sometimes you have your back to the quarterback. You're chasing a receiver, and the 2 Ute defensive backs were turned backwards. Detmer saw that and took off to the races.
Let's go downstairs. Doug Miller.
Checking along the Ute bench here right behind me. They say BRYAN ROWLEY, number 19, Ute's wide receiver, just has kind of a strained ankle. Not a big deal. They've been working on it here on the bench during the BYU scoring drive. It's a little sore, they say. They've been flexing it around, but it's not taped or anything. They haven't shot it, or they say BRYAN will be in this series, and the Utes can ill afford to lose him.
On a cold day, sprained ankles are tough to keep loose.
They are. They need to slap some tape on that ankle and get him back in there. They need BRYAN ROWLEY.
You see Ron McBride working the sidelines. His Utes up 10 early and now have fallen behind 14-10. He wanted to keep that emotion pumping up on the sideline.
He really does. He wants to keep them going. They had a nice start, and how quickly the momentum has changed. BYU started to control the game and the field position, and he wants to keep that emotion going.
And the kick taken by Shaver, stacked up with the 20. David Kennard around the football, and Shaver driven back to the 15, but they'll mark it down at the 19-yard line.
On that one, Craig, would be easier to tell who didn't make the tackle. There was only 2 guys, Lever, the kicker, and the safety man, that weren't in on that tackle that time. BRYAN ROWLEY's an interesting story, Craig. He grew up just here in the shadow of Brigham Young University out in Orem, and he makes no bones about it. He hates BYU. Could not think of anything better than beating BYU. He just does not. He says there's no love lost between me and BYU.
Played at OREM High School, and the Utes go right back to the ground. A quick hitter up the middle behind Mark Barton, the center. A pickup of maybe 2 on the play. The running back, Keith Williams. He's not a big guy, 5'8", 180, but boy, he's cat quick.
You know, Craig, he really is a big-time back. After this play, I'll give you a little background on Keith Williams.
Second down 8. Richmond to the air. And good coverage by Josh Arnold. Wrapped up Williams as they try to set up that far side screen. They'll lose a couple.
Williams, Craig, really a big-time type of back. And some people say, how did the Utah get a guy that caliber who was being recruited by all the big-time top 10 type schools to come? And what happened was he was an everything player as a junior, and in his senior year he blew his knee out. Everybody dropped him. But Utah kept after him. What a recruiting coup that was, because he's developed into one of the finer backs in the country.
Double slot to the left, and now there is a flag down. Looked like Mike DeHogue pulled up a little bit out of his stance and drew a Cougar offside. And sure enough, it'll march 5 yards, and the Utes going the other way now. Oh, look at the steam coming off. Oh, it's a cold day, and you can work up a sweat out there. .3:13 to play, opening quarter. And the Cougars up 14-10. Third down 14. And the Utes are 1 out of 3 on third down conversions. Richmond back in the shotgun. Going for the deep ball. ROWLEY at the 50. ROWLEY at the 10, 5, and touchdown Utah. Big time football today here in Provo. ROWLEY, whose ankle is a bit tender, didn't show it there.
You get that adrenaline going, Craig, and you're out in front of a couple of DBs with the end zone in sight, and you don't even feel that ankle. Utah trying to take advantage of the deep ball. They not only had ROWLEY open down the left side running man-to-man against Arnold, but they also had Huffman down the middle open. He had his choice. Now Patrick Mitchell chooses to dive. He dove about 25 yards too late. He was close enough to dive out on the 25-yard line, and he chose not to until he got to the 5. ROWLEY shows you that he has breakaway speed because Patrick Mitchell is one of the fastest players on the BYU team. He just outran him to the end zone.
Jurgensen tries the point after, and he boots it up and through. And we got ourselves a great game going. 2:46 to play in the first quarter, and Utah back on top, 17-14. We've got the ISO on ROWLEY, and right by Josh Arnold he goes.
You saw Patrick Mitchell turn to the outside. Derwin Gray was up in coverage, and so there was no help for Josh Arnold down the middle from the free safety Gray. BYU playing a lot of blitzing packages. What happens when you do that? You leave the middle to man-to-man coverage, and Brian ROWLEY is quick enough to go down that middle without help. Josh Arnold will be in trouble all night.
His second touchdown catch of the day, 11 on the season. And Richmond, who starts for the injured Frank Dolce, making his mark. 2 big passes to ROWLEY. And let me remind you one more time, 2 years ago, Scotty Mitchell, now with the Dolphins, went down with an injury during the week prior to this game. On comes Richmond, threw for 393 yards, 4 touchdowns, and put on quite a show. The Cougars won that game handedly, but still, Richmond in a tough position. He's a senior, by the way, going out today. His farewell tour, I guess to say. But boy, he's put on a show here to start this game.
He's got a good, strong arm, and his only problem has been back spasms this year, and he looks pretty healthy to me today.
Pulsifer with the kick. Clark takes it at the 10. And he'll be downed at the 28-yard line. Little extracurricular activities going on out there. There's a scoring drive. That was an 84-yard pass, but the penalties pushed him back from the 20. 84 yards from Richmond to ROWLEY.
Brad Clark on that return, Craig. He's kind of a no-nonsense return man. He's not going to sit and pick his way around. He just gets the ball full steam ahead until somebody hits him. I think he actually enjoys that contact on those special teams. He's a crazy man.
Cougars start up at their own 29-yard line. Drage in motion. Jamal Willis off the left side finds a hole and rumbles up past the 35. A pickup of 7.
Willis just able to pick his way at the snap of the football. There didn't look like there was much off that left tackle. Able to turn his body sideways and kind of knife through holes. He very quickly can change directions. Saw Earl Kaufman there on the sidelines. Kaufman says that he can kick okay. That doesn't bother him. When he comes from the side, it doesn't hurt his knee, but when he punts, it can become very painful as he has to whip that leg and it puts a strain on his knee.
What's it been, about 3 weeks ago? Underwent the scope, had the knee lock up on him. Detmer rolling all kinds of time, and now he throws it out of bounds. Ty Detmer told me earlier this week that it won't really hit him until he takes the pads off today, that this is his final home game. Hard to believe he's played 4 years here.
Provided a lot of thrills in this stadium for a lot of folks. You can credit that throw away to great coverage. He had plenty of time that time to look over the whole field and 4 receivers out on the route. And Utah just blanketed everybody.
2 out of 6, 106 yards. Detmer in that pocket, throws it across the middle and nearly picked off. Number 42, Todd Lawson. He's been around the football all afternoon. He picked off Ty earlier in this quarter and broke up that pass play. So now Kaufman will come in to kick.
Here's a look at how close it really was. Matsuzaki was on a crossing route, and he actually had Lawson beat by a step. The ball was just a little behind Matsuzaki. That allowed Lawson to make the play.
Kaufman with a 39.9 average, and he booms it. Levon Edwards at the 18, and he's wrapped up at the 20-yard line. To the Cougars on coverage. John Christensen, backup defensive back, made the tackle, number 34.
And, of course, who else was there? We don't even have to look. If there's 2 guys on the tackle, you know at least one of them is going to be Brad Clark, and he was there with Christensen on that one.
First down on the 21-yard line.
You know, we could close our eyes during a special teams play, Craig. And if you said Brad Clark on the tackle, I bet you'd be right 95% of the time.
He's got a nose for the football. A minute 35 to play, first quarter. 17-14, Utah with the lead. Richmond, the quick hitter across the middle. And Abrams still on his feet and fights his way up to the 44-yard line. Steve Abrams out of the backfield with a big catch and a big gain for Utah.
Abrams is kind of a do-it-all guy for the Utes. He can catch the football, he runs, he's a hard-nosed runner. They're just taking advantage of some play action. When you run play action, those linebackers stay closer to the line of scrimmage, and then they send Abrams down the seam. You see Hansen trailing the play there, number 50. That's because he had to step up to make sure that run did not take place, and they just dumped it in quickly to Abrams behind, in between the backers and the defensive backs.
First and 10 at the 44-yard line. Richmond on the run. Richmond can run. He turns the corner and steps out of bounds at the 46-yard line. A couple of yards on the play.
46-yard line.
Sometimes as a quarterback, as you're rolling out like that, you think, I've got to run. The guys have the angle on you. You get out of bounds and you look back and you say, man, I ran all that way and I only got 2 yards? You think you ran forever. And you're tired on that next throw, usually. Makes it tough to get back there and throw a good one. Maybe it was just because I was out of shape when I did it. I don't know.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it. Second down, Richmond with a quick drop and the quick flip. What a catch by Abrams. Took it right off his hip. They'll mark him down at the 46-yard line, just about a half a yard shy of the first down. But Abrams have come in here and really sparked this Utah offense. 49 seconds left to play in the first quarter. One more time.
BYU just playing zone defense, and Rocky Beagle very deep in his drop. You saw Shad Hansen. He pointed. He passed Abrams off into Beagle's zone, but Beagle was so deep he was back in coverage about 18 yards, and they just brought Abrams underneath.
Just shy of the first down. We've seen about 2 different momentum shifts in this first quarter. Utes had it early. The Cougars took over for 5 or 6 minutes, and now Utah kind of settling back in the driver's seat on this drive. 17-14 with 49 seconds to play. It has been a long first quarter. Nearly an hour of game time, or clock time, that is.
It seems like we played a half of football already. The way that game got started, it was crazy.
High formation for the running Utes. Third down, and Utah didn't get it. Rocky Beagle made the stop. Abrams trying to go off the left side behind Ma'afala, the left guard.
And BYU, notice they had the inside linebackers and outside linebackers all coming. And Beagle was right up in the line of scrimmage, and Giles came down hard. Made the hit in the backfield, and I think they're going to measure that again to see how close that is.
Let's get you up close. And I think they lost yardage on that last play, I believe. Still.
About the same.
About the same. You know, I've always kind of marveled at the officials around college and pro and high school, how they have to really, it's just an eye spot. You're just eyeing where actually the forward progress ended. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't.
And often you say, did he get a right foot spot or left foot spot? The official's standing there. If the linesman puts the ball down on his right foot, it's not a first down. If he puts it on his left, it is. It's such a game of inches, yet kind of an archaic measurement system out there.
It is 4th down in inches. Richmond calls his own number, and boy, the Cougars stack it up in the middle. It's going to be close.
I think he got it that time.
And that's what you call the trenches. Down there, Lenny Gomes, Doug Stone.
And you put Mark Barton, the center for Utah, against Gomes, the nose on that one, man to man, just moving him out. That was a stalemate there. That's a lot of beef moving around. Watch Barton. Richmond's just going to go right over his center. Gomes is going to try to push him back. You see Hansen come up over the top, just barely enough for a first down. But that's what it's all about down there in the trenches.
A first down. Charlie Brown trying to get outside, or that's Keith Williams, and Dewey Gray closed him down. Well, BYU really spread out that play. Williams tried to cut it off earlier, went outside and couldn't turn the corner. We played a quarter of football, and it's been great. 17-14. The Utes on top. We'll come back.
Welcome back to Cougar Stadium. About 40 degrees here on your official weather school thermometer. That just means it's plenty cool, but there's plenty of heat here in the north end zone. It's hard to tell whether blue is warmer or perhaps red over here. 17-14. Utes lead it. Greg?
It has been a warm first quarter. We start up the second 15 minutes of this game. The Utes on the Cougar 48-yard line. Play action, and oh, the blitz came. Giles buried Richmond back at the 41-yard line. And here we take a look at the Utah Honda dealers first quarter summary. Passing yardage nearly even, total yards nearly even, but the turnover bug hit the Cougars early, and a lot of flags thrown in this game so far.
some big numbers in terms of average per completion today for Detmer so far. Big play offenses.
Third down 20 after the sack by Giles. He's the sack leader on this team, his 8th. A quick flip outside to Vernon Shaver.
Rocky Beagle read that one all the way. They brought the backers on the strong side. Beagle was on the weak side, and he knew that was his responsibility. He's going to flash out there right in front of your screen.
Young back to punt for Utah. Brad Clark
Come from behind to make that tackle. Didn't fool him for a minute. And if you can get that inside pressure from the inside behind that play, that's how you stop it. You can't expect your corners and safeties to come up and run through those linemen and make the tackle.
Shaver, a freshman out of San Diego. You know, he was recruited big time by Colorado, Arizona State, UNLV. Decided to come to Utah. And Young boots it up high, and Clark signals for the fair catch at the 10-yard line.
Good coverage for Utah that time. Derek Whidden was down there right underneath it, so that was a smart decision by Clark. He could have downed that one inside the 10 had he not fair caught the football.
13:30 left to play in the first half. The Cougars 7-3-1 on the season, 6-0-1 in conference play, and Utah 7-4, 4-3 in the conference. The season finale, regular season finale for both teams. Jamal Willis breaks it off the left to the right side, picks up the first down and a bit more, knocked out of bounds. Boy, he just has that gliding style of run, doesn't he?
And BYU trying to establish that running game, that will slow down the pressure that Utah is able to put on the quarterback. You mentioned how adept they are at sacking the quarterback. This is the kind of play they like to do. It slows down that blitz. It makes you think when you bring those inside backers, if you can turn that corner, there's nobody there in pursuit. You get those big chunks of yardage.
First down at the 22-yard line. Detmer back in the shotgun. Play action. Detmer with the flip to Tui Pelotu. Well, he took a shot from Lawson. The ball incomplete. Say the Cougars' bread and butter is that little delayed draw. They did it that time, but used it as the play action, and then went back to Peter Tees. He came out of the backfield incomplete.
The thing that makes that play tough, if you come back and end up having to throw to the guy you fake to, well, the linebackers don't lose track of him. He's the one that faked it. They had their eyes on him the whole time. They had good coverage on everyone else. Detmer had to come back to Tui Pelotu, and he was covered well.
Second down at the 22. Detmer to his tight end. Rex spins out of a move and picks up the first down at the 35-yard line. Byron Rex, a junior out of Bellflower, California, with his 36th reception of the season. Rex started slow, shared some time with Atulamili, and really has dominated that tight end spot since about the third game of the season.
You saw Rex line up on the left. They were trying to cover him with a strong safety. He pressured to the inside, went on a 5-yard out.
Jamal Willis always wrapped up. Good shoestring tackle there by Anthony Davis, number 43. Haven't called his name. All whack a year ago.
What a player he is. He's an unusual combination of strength and speed. He's very quick, probably one of the quickest linebackers in the conference, yet he bench presses 370 pounds, so he's got that power to come in and make those big hits.
I think that's what Mike Jenkins weighs. The backup center for BYU.
True. I don't know if anybody can bench Mike, though.
Terrifying thought itself.
That does terrify me. Detmer in the pocket across the middle. Peter Tui Pelotu at the 50 and stumbles up to the 39-yard line of Utah. You got to remember Tui Pelotu, the leading rusher on this Cougar team, but also number 2 in receptions, only behind Eric Drage.
Preston Christensen, 48. You saw him there in the middle of your screen, the inside backer. He's got responsibility for Tuipulotu. He swung out of the backfield and then cut back inside of Christensen. That's a tough assignment because Tuipulotu has some great moves out there in the open for a linebacker to cover him one-on-one.
You saw Levon Edwards slip and fall. Just did a great job getting back up on his feet to trip up Tuipulotu. Shotgun for the Cougars. First down at the Ute 39. There's that draw trap, and Peter T. gets it up to the 35-yard line, a 4-yard gain. Utah's defense, it has gone under dramatic changes in the last 2 years.
Mortensen makes a nice block here on Preston Christensen right there that frees Tuipulotu up to get to the inside. Made the block that sprung him for those few yards.
Number 1 in the conference. Number 2 in the conference on points allowed at just a little over 20 per game. Detmer with the quick drop and the quick flip, and the catch made by Drage. He's upended near the first down marker. Believe he got it. They'll mark him out of bounds at the 29-yard line. Back to this Utah defense, 106th ranked nationally 2 years ago, and they've just made tremendous gains. Their last 2 ball games against New Mexico and UTEP, they've held their opponents to single digits. Only 16 points allowed the last 2 ball games.
I think the difference has been that they're just so much more aggressive on defense, and they've got the experience and speed in that secondary now that they can take some chances on the front and not get hurt with a big play as they were back when they were ranked 106th.
First down at the 28-yard line. All kinds of time for Detmer. Stands in there, and the ball thrown across the middle. The flag down. Tim Nowatzki, and the flag will be thrown against number 42, Todd Lawson.
That's tough on a defensive back when you give a quarterback this much time. That time they did not blitz. They elected to try to just come with 4 people, the 4 down linemen. And Nowatzki went all the way to the outside and back to the middle. And you're going to get called for interference. He made a good move with his right hand, Lawson did. But when you have that left hand on the back of the receiver, the backside official is going to throw that flag every time. You see that left hand grabbing Nowatzki as he tries to strip with the right hand, and the official in the end zone was the one that threw the flag.
Ron McBride looks on. The official still huddling around the 27-yard line. And this one will be marked down inside the 15 at the 14.
On the defense, the spot foul. First down.
You heard him say spot foul.
What they do when he says a spot foul means they'll take it. Instead of giving a penalty from the line of scrimmage, they take it out, and on that kind of pass interference call, they just put it where the foul occurred, move it down the field and put it right there, and that's where the interference occurred at the 14-yard line.
A first down at the Utah 13. High snap. They give it to Jamal Willis. And he's still on his feet, battles up near the 11-yard line. He was stopped not once but twice, but still able to pick up some yardage down to the 11. Well, he's a high stepper, isn't he?
And he is going to be something else before he leaves BYU. He is very strong. You see him cut inside of Lawson and then run through Christensen's tackle. And then he run through Edwards' tackle. He broke 3 tackles there before he was finally brought down. It's such a great combination of speed and size. He's going to be amazing before his career is through here at BYU.
Luther Ellis, another freshman, finally made the hit on Willis. Detmer, Nowatzki, incomplete. Mark Swanson, the left corner, all over Nowatzki. Good coverage.
Excellent coverage, and Lawson was in such tight coverage, even though the catch was made, he was able to knock Nowatzki out of bounds. That's a play that people remember. They used to say if the defender hits you out of bounds, if he carries you out of bounds, then it would be a complete. They changed that rule. It was too hard. It was too subjective. They said, just forget it. You either have to come down with the ball in bounds or not. And you saw that Swanson that time made the big play. Nowatzki was going to come down clearly in bounds, And Swanson knocked him out.
Third down. Utes coming hard. Flags are down. Detmer fires a dart. Touchdown to Matsuzaki. But hold on, a flag thrown at the 13-yard line. And Ty Detmer trotting off the field. He says it's a touchdown.
It was offsides on the defense, and so that one will stand. Great protection against the blitz. Utah brought the blitz, and Detmer stood in there, and they took care of him. Willis stepped up and made a block. Tui Pelotu stepped up and made a block, and the whole interior line did a nice job. See, Detmer is not afraid to stand in there. You see him take a big hit right as he threw the football, yet he will stand in there to the last second, allow his receivers to work, and deliver the ball on time.
Only the second touchdown reception of the season for Matsuzaki. He battled some leg problems in the early going. Detmer now with 32 touchdowns on the season. And Lever will try the point after. Joe Evans will hold. Good snap, a good hold. And the ball blocked, picked up. And the Utes take it back and ran out of bounds near the 40-yard line.
Another change in the rules you'll remember from last year. You can return an extra point that's blocked back for a point. So
timeout in Provo. We'll be back.
Detmer's arm puts the BYU Cougars back on top now. Detmer this week got a nice article in USA Today as the BYU Cougars climb out of that early season slump. A lot of late season recognition. Detmer, what a kid with a lot of grit. Standing in the pocket there in the face of that BYU or the Ute blitz. He had a gash over his eye that took 20 stitches to close after the San Diego State game last week. Couldn't even get his helmet all the way on at the early part of practice. And he's throwing TDs today, huh, Craig?
Throwing TDs big time. Darren Castaigne on the line drive kick from Lever takes it back near the 35, 36-yard line. And here's the touchdown pass in traffic to Micah Matsuzaki.
And you saw Detmer, just as Doug talked about, take a big hit from Todd Lawson just as he let go of the football.
Now Lever missed the extra point, so that tightens things up even more. It's 2017. Just a field goal separates the Utes and Cougars. 9:59 left to play in the first half. And Utah starts up at their own 38-yard line. Keith Williams. Guess who? Big number 90. Lenny Gomes, the sophomore out of Santa Rosa, California, made the stop.
You've got Lenny Gomes hanging on your leg. You're not going anywhere, Craig. That is a load hanging on your leg. BYU blitz again. This is the most aggressive I have seen them on defense this year. They're coming about every other play. And it's tough to run against a blitz like that.
A loss of 2 on the play. Second down. Richmond in the pocket. Throws it out to Abrams. Does a U-turn and tackled at the 42-yard line.
Passing in the left flat to number 31.
Abrams looks like he just kind of was at a pivot for a cleat, kind of turned and went one way and came back, went the other.
That was an impressive move by Abrams, but an equally impressive effort by Rocky Beagle, because after Abrams put that move on, he went to the ground, got back up, and made the tackle.
Flag down all the way across the field about the 35, right in front of the BYU bench.
Personal foul against the Cougars.
Detmer had a great line this week. Detmer had that patch over his eye, had a black eye, had that 20-stitch rip over his right eye. He's got the scar on his chin. He's got a scar on his shoulder. He said, it's lucky I got a wife while I could. Guy has a face like a roadman. But I'll tell you what, that alluring smile of his makes up for a lot of stitches, huh?
I was trying to see who that personal foul was on. I was trying to read Lavelle Edwards' lips, and you saw him look like he was saying Tony, Tony. So
picked off at the 45. First down for Brigham Young. I don't think Richmond ever saw him. But how could... He's so big, he just stepped up and put his hands up and grabbed it right out of the air.
A nose guard's dream. I didn't know Lenny Gomes could catch. Let's see if it... He just gets his hands up. When you're not in on the quarterback, they teach you get those hands up. That hit him right in the center of the chest. All Gomes had to do was gather that one in. That is a nose guard's dream. I remember playing against an Ohio State football team, and their nose guard got 2 interceptions against us that afternoon. And after the game, he couldn't believe it. And Gomes will be talking about this one forever.
I'll tell you what, Richmond rifled that baby too. You could hear the impact as that ball detonated on Gomes' chest. I'm 40 yards away and I heard it go boom.
After hitting Gomes' chest, I'm surprised the ball still has some air in it.
8:52 to play in the first half. And after the interception, Detmer and company starts up at their own 46. Tie in the pocket, going for the home run ball. Little collision, and they're going to call no harm, no foul. Both players, and it's a good call, both players look back for the football. Micah Matsuzaki and Mark Swanson.
Swanson was good in position. He always, throughout that play, stayed deeper than Matsuzaki. But Matsuzaki stopped running. He didn't keep up the post. He lost the confidence. He evidently didn't think Detmer was going to go to him. Then the ball got in the air, and it was very confusing for him. Excellent coverage, though. As a defensive back, you've always got to stay deeper than that receiver, and that's what Swanson did on that one.
Well, Toyota is helping bring you today's football game. I love what you do for me, Toyota. Detmer, oh, like a hot potato. Gathers it back in, throws it downfield. The catch made by Peter Tuipulotu.
Unbelievable. Whenever you think Detmer has done what you don't think you could ever see again, he pulls something like this. I mean, a left-handed throw we've seen him rolling one way and throwing it behind his back. This time, the old fake fumble hot potato trick, still has the vision to pick up Tuipulotu and get the ball upfield.
Keith Embry was all over him. Take a look at this. Watch number 95 come in. Embry dives over him, then still grabs his shoelaces. Look at that.
There's not very many quarterbacks in the country, Craig, that would still be able to find a receiver after all of it.
Jamal Willis trying to turn the corner, wrapped up by Errol Martin, the linebacker, number 45.
And most people would have panicked at that point.
They look inside that face mask. Got helmets riding a little high on his head today. He's got that, looks like a pirate. Hey, matey.
You know, last week he had blood dripping down in his eye. He's in there still flinging the ball around. He goes to the sideline. Hey, put a Band-Aid on it. I'm fine. Tough competitor is Ty Detmer.
Clock running, coming up on the 7:40 mark. Second down, 9. A high snap. The Utes in the blitz, and the circus catch by Drage. Touchdown.
And every catch Eric Drage makes is a circus catch. Detmer knew that he had blitz and he had man-to-man coverage. He had Swanson working man-to-man against Drage. He just had to get rid of the football. He stood in there as long as he could and let a duck fly out of the pocket on that one. But it was good enough for Eric Drage. Seems like every time he catches it, it's a circus catch.
That's it. Detmer does not throw a pretty football, but he gets the job done. Lever with the point after. It's good. Drage's second touchdown catch of the day, and the Cougars build a 10-point lead. Stadium, Craig Bowler, Jack, Blaine Fowler, and Doug Miller. It is 27-17, still 7:28 to play in the opening half.
Here's a look at that touchdown again. Watch the pressure that Detmer throws this under. He's got guys hanging all over him, in particular Luther Ellis hanging on his back, but he knows all he has to do is get it in the general vicinity of Drage, and he'll have a shot at 6 points. Indeed, Eric Drage with another great catch and a touchdown. Detmer now 8 out of 16 for 217 yards and 3 touchdowns. Not a bad first half.
And Richmond with 142 and 2 tosses, the 1 interception by Gomes. Play action on first down. Beagle coming in hard. Abrams makes the catch. Stiffs arms his way up near the 29-yard line. Boy, Dewey Gray took a chance and overran Abrams. And the Utes pick up some big yardage.
Impressive throw by Mike Richmond. Rocky Beagle came on the blitz. Richmond knew he was going to get hit, and he kind of sidearmed it right around Beagle. Watch this right here. He sees him coming, and he throws it right between the arms and out to Abrams. Gray breaking on the play, just overruns it, and then comes back to help Patrick Mitchell on the tackle. But Richmond stood in there. He knew he was going to take a hit, but stood there and threw it anyhow.
A 6-yard pickup, second down 4. Giles comes hard. One-on-one, intercepted by Josh Arnold, but a flag down. Arnold still on his feet, and he'll be tackled down at the 40-yard line. But a flag back at the 35.
It looked like they were holding Scott Murray underneath the tight end. I don't know if that's going to be the call, but they definitely had a hold of him.
Richmond's indicating a procedure penalty against BYU.
Guy Gibbs just gives us the indication it is holding. Murray was underneath, and they lashed right out and grabbed onto him. I don't know if we'll be able to see this. It would be way over on the left side of your screen. It happened before that. Josh Arnold had good coverage all the way. He played it straight, had good coverage, was in good position. They tried to go out and up with Rocchini, and he played it well, but it was the underneath coverage on the tight end Murray that was in question, and they grabbed a hold and got the holding call.
On a forward pass, an eligible receiver, 10 yards, first down.
So it's a 10-yard walk-off and a first down for the Utes at the 38-yard line. 6:26 to play in the first half. Penalties now. Utah flagged 7 times. The Cougars 4. Nearly 100 yards between the two of them here in the first half. Abrams gets the call off the left side, and Jared Levitt, number 56, the left outside backer, puts the stick on Abrams. Boy, Levitt is a story. He's a strong young man, a senior out of Soda Springs, Idaho. Had neck surgery last year, and I tell you what, at that time, it was all but over. His career, that is, but he worked hard, got the okay, and has come back and had a good season.
You're not going to see a more physical specimen on any football field. He looks like a bodybuilder, and he benches over 400 pounds.
Richmond slings it out. Josh Arnold on coverage, lets Charlie Brown go. And Brown rumbles up past the 40 to the 42-yard line. Charlie Brown, 5'8", 188, a sophomore out of San Diego.
Brown, kind of a stocky built player, and he's got strong legs. Josh Arnold, usually a very short tackler. That is his strength, but he hits Brown so high that Brown's able to shake him off. You want to get him down lower than the numbers. Take those legs out. Patrick Mitchell, Kennard, and Giles come up to help out after Charlie Brown shakes that first tackle.
Third down 5. Richmond on the rollout. He's got a man, ROWLEY, and he skips out of bounds at the 47, a first down for Utah.
ROWLEY was going down that time. He was going on an in route toward the center of the field. Crutchfield was covering him man-to-man, and then ROWLEY broke to the outside. Crutchfield fell down. I don't know if we'll see it here on the replay, but it happens just about in the center of the field, and you're going to see Crutchfield right there, down on the ground. ROWLEY broke back to the outside, and that's why there was no one in coverage. That was Crutchfield's man, and just a good move by Brian ROWLEY.
Abrams, the slot back, and here comes the rush and the sack. Beagle and Hansen.
double barrel blitz right down the middle. They brought both inside linebackers. And Richmond didn't have a prayer. They just went completely unblocked, both of them. I'd like to have those two guys breathing down at you.
Hansen 245, Rocky Beagle 2 1/4.
Be an impact that'd make your eyes water, wouldn't it?
They had 9.5 sacks between the two of them before this day started. 4:20 and the clock running. Left to play in the first half. Second down, 18. Shaver stopped by Josh Arnold along with David Kennard at the 42-yard line.
And David Kennard is that nickel back now. He's out there playing man-to-man coverage. BYU blitzing again, giving Utah a steady diet of that. Dave Kennard was the man in there on coverage, made the tackle. They're just trying to keep Utah underneath. But Utah smart, not trying to get it all in one play. You come back and get 2 plays to try to make up that 20 yards.
The slot back is Hoffman on 3rd down. Oh, what a tackle by Kennard at the 40-yard line. Up into the big fella. The catch made by Hoffman. Kennard hit him low, and he's about 2 yards shy of the first down.
Utah just running a crossing route that time. They tried to rub David Kennard off. They brought the outside receiver in on a post and tried to get Kennard's face, but he just ran around that little pick play. If you're going to tackle a big guy like that, your defensive back, that's where you hit him. Right down low, the knees, take the legs out from under him, and you can stop him. Big decision here for McBride.
And McBride will go for it on 4th down and 3 at the Cougar 40. Now a timeout. And the Cougars call timeout, their first of this half.
Ladies and gentlemen, BYU.
They've got 2 remaining. Utah chewed up a couple early. They've got 1 left on the scoreboard. So with that, we'll step aside. 2:54 to play in the half, and the Cougars up 10. As a shop at Macy's and watch for our best play. Macy's play of the game later in today's broadcast. We've got a couple of to choose from, don't we?
Really, dude, it's been a wild first half so far.
It is 4th down and 3. Utah going for it. Richmond in the shotgun. The quick flip outside, and it's going to be the catch made, but still shy of the first down. Greg Hoffman, and again Kennard. Give that series to David Kennard. They really picked on him, and he came through.
Well, BYU taking a big chance there. Utah coming out in the shotgun, and they decide they're going to go man blitz. They're going to blitz everybody and play man-to-man. That's a lot of confidence in your defensive back people. If you break just a little post or something, you could have 6 points. Kennard was in good position, played up tight, made 3 big plays on that drive.
Talk about Detmer's last game here before the home crowd. It's Kennard's too, and David Kennard, how long has he been here?
Since Moses.
Yeah.
To give you a clue, he was my roommate in Hawaii in '85.
The quick flip and nearly picked off, is it? Yes, it is. It was tipped by Peter T. And the Utes say they have it at the 45-yard line.
And it looked like a clean catch to me, interception.
2:40 left to play in the half, and the Utes back on offense.
Very opportunistic Levon Edwards, and he's been in the right place at the right time throughout his career with the University of Utes. 16 interceptions. That makes it 17 for Levon Edwards' career. They should have a different category for quarterbacks, in my opinion, though, Craig. Of course, being a former quarterback, I always feel sorry for these guys, but Micah Matsuzaki lets that one leak through his hands, tips it up. Levon Edwards makes the interception, but I'd like to see an asterisk, tip ball interceptions.
That's the quarterback in you.
That's right.
Double slot to the right for Utah. Richmond guns it downfield. ROWLEY in traffic. Picked off by Josh Arnold. Oh, what a seesaw battle. Arnold at the 27. And for Josh Arnold, his 2nd pick of the season.
2nd pick of the day, except for that first one came back with a holding call. Again, he's in perfect position. ROWLEY trying to run a post. And you see the ball floated on Richmond a little bit. ROWLEY wanted that ball to be thrown deeper. He threw it underneath and forced him back, and Arnold in perfect position. You also noticed Derwin Gray was back there at the safety position to help out.
That took 7 seconds off the clock. 2:33. 5 turnovers in this game. Jamal Willis, and he's tripped up, maybe a yard on the play. Number 95 for Utah, Keith Embry, got his hand on Jamal Willis.
Keith Embry's had a good game so far against the run. Every time BYU has run the football, it seems that Embry has been there. He's working against Garrett Touge, and Touge will have his hands full with Embry.
Clock running, coming up on the 2-minute mark. On second down, flags are down. Detmer stands in that pocket, dancing around. And down he goes at the 17-yard line. Embry. Two flags. One back at the 35-yard line of Utah, and the other one down around the 26 of BYU.
The first flag at the 26 came right at the snap of the ball, so either a motion or offside or something. The second is probably going to be some kind of holding or in the secondary. So
The substitute did not come within 9 yards or past the 9-yard mark on the offense.
Okay, we'll have to do another explanation here, Craig. Remember the old plays where they used to like hide somebody on the sideline and run them? The new rule says you've got to come 9 yards off the sidelines in a substitution so that the defense can see that you're in the game. And basically, they like you to come to the hash mark, if you can, to report in before you are involved in a play. And BYU had a receiver come right off the sideline, line up right out on the numbers, and run the route. And so they called an illegal substitution on that.
You've done it again. Clock running. Double slot to the left, and Detmer rolls to his right, throws back across the grain. The catch made and dropped by Peter Tuipulotu. He had some running room around the 25-yard line. Now the Cougars forced to punt with 1:33 to play in the half.
We mentioned there were 2 flags on that one. All that was both of the officials noticed that illegal substitution, made the call. Big drop here because Peter Tuipulotu had Christensen trailing him. You're going to see there, I believe in a foot race, that Tuipulotu would win that one, and he wouldn't run into anyone until he ran into Shavers about 23 yards down the field.
Back to receive the punt is Levon Edwards. Kaufman at his own 5, and the Utes put on a heavy rush. Kaufman gets a big bounce. Edwards picks it at the 35-yard line. Ooh, slips and falls. Well, that's one way to sprain an ankle or tear up a knee. Looked like his cleat got caught. And Levon Edwards down at the 35-yard line.
Boy, he's lucky he didn't get hurt on that one. Those are the kind of fluke things that can really hurt you. So we're glad to see Levon Edwards all right on that.
1:23 left in the first half. 27-17. Brigham Young with the lead. Richmond with the handoff to Williams, and he stumbles up for a pickup of 3. Williams, just a sophomore.
Tackle was made by 55, Kevin Nickel.
BYU's been outstanding against the run this year on defense. They've had some problems against the pass, especially last week against San Diego State. That's an understatement, isn't it, Craig? But against the run, they've been very solid all year round.
Under a minute left to play in the opening half, and it's been a good one. Giles comes on the blitz. Richmond the quick flip, and Shavers makes the catch at the 45-yard line near the first down marker. They'll stop the clock with 41 seconds to play. Vernon Shaver, a freshman, a redshirt freshman.
First down on the 45.
I talked about it earlier, but his recruiting list is pretty impressive. Colorado wanted him, Arizona State, UNLV.
Pick up there by Richie. Pick up that blitz, threw it quick before they had a chance to get after him.
Richmond airs it out. Crutchfield back on coverage. Some contact made at the 15. No flags. Crutchfield and ROWLEY battling for that football.
That was a bring rain pass. That's the highest ball I've ever seen thrown in Cougar Stadium. That looked like a punt. And there was contact down there, but that ball was hung up so high. Both those guys had their eyes on the football, going for the ball, and they'll just call that incidental contact. This ball, I don't know if we can even get it on camera. It was so high up in the air. And you see both Rowley and Crutchfield looking for the ball, and incidental contact, that's a good no call.
23 ticks left, second down 10. Richmond flips it out to Williams. And the Cougars. Good pursuit. David Kennard there again, along with Doug Stone, number 51, and that should do it here in the first half. Clock winding down with 3 seconds to play. Mike Richmond turns and starts walking to the locker room. We've seen the touchdown from 98. And we're back. Third quarter action underway. Lever with the kick. Here's our Utah Honda dealers first half summary. Passing yardage. Detmer with 219. Richmond with 185, and the Utes are going to have to get a ground game going, as are the Cougars. 38 for BYU, -5 rushing for Utah.
You know, Craig, you really have to establish that ground game to slow that pass rush down. Neither team has been able to do that, and the defenses are coming right after the quarterback.
And the Utes go right back to the ground. Keith Williams gets the call. And Williams picks up 4 on the carry. 27-17.
Gain of 4 to the 36-yard
Williams
line.
in the first half held to just 3 yards rushing on the ground, so he just bettered that by picking up 4. Williams again the call. On second effort picks up the first down. Rocky Beagle and Giles teamed up to make the stop.
And this, I'm sure, is exactly what Utah wanted to do out of the gates. They want to get that established. I'm sure they looked at what was going on in the first half and said, hey, guys, we need to take our time, take some time off the clock, keep that BYU offense off the field, and get some yardage on the ground. There's nothing fancy about that. It was man-to-man blocking on the front. Williams straight ahead. Not a big guy, but he's just as effective running inside as out.
Last week against UTEP, Williams ripped off 142 yards. A quick drop, a quick flip to the far side. Rowley wrapped up in a hurry. Chad Hansen there on coverage, along with Patrick Mitchell, the freshman.
Patrick Mitchell read that one from the start. Blitz coverage, and so Patrick Mitchell is going to start out. When you're playing man-to-man, you play tighter anyhow. You're playing up close, and so he was in a good position to make that play. That has been a bread-and-butter play for Utah all year long. They just get the ball out to Rowley. He does so many good things with it after he catches it. If he gets one block and can break a tackle, it can be a big play. But Mitchell there just too quick.
Rowley pulled down 3 receptions in the first half for 113 yards and a pair of touchdowns. On second down, nearly picked off by Crutchfield. In and out of the hands. Richmond was going for Vernon Shaver, and Crutchfield couldn't find the handle. It will be third down for Utah at their own 43-yard line.
Vernon Shaver that time was trying to run a curl route. You go straight down the field, and then you curl back to the quarterback. What he did not do was come back hard to the quarterback. He just kind of went out and turned around. You see him there. Crutchfield broke back on the ball. And in order for you to keep that defender on your back, you have to continue to run at the quarterback on those curl routes. Otherwise, the defensive back can get up there and make the play, as Crutchfield did on that one.
Crutchfield still with an interception this season. On third down, the blitz is on, and Gomes picks it up for the second time today. A flag down at the 41, and Richmond slow to get up. What is going on?
See, Gomes heard me say that the Ohio State nose guard had 2 interceptions, and he didn't want to be topped. So he's going to pick up another one. But let's take a look at it. He's just playing straight up nose. They're running a little cross there between he and Pitts, and it hits the back of a Ute player, and Gomes has another gift there.
I'll tell you what, they're grooming Gomes for wide receivers. And I mean wide.
That ball hit the left guard, Roy Maafala. And somehow Lenny Gomes just able to cradle that football and pull in his second interception of the day. Boy, he's going to look good on the stat sheet. .13:09 in the third quarter, and the pitch goes to Jamal Willis. The reverse to Tyler Anderson. Ty Detmer out there leading the way. Anderson at the 30, the 20, the 5, 10, and knocked out of bounds at the 2-yard line.
And Jamal Willis, his effectiveness at running that sweep the last few weeks is what sets this up. You saw them run a reverse a few weeks ago to Matsuzaki for a big game. Tyler Anderson has legitimate big-time, big-game speed. He can get up the field. Look at Detmer out in front trying to throw a block here. Finally, Reggie Alston comes and makes that tackle, but not before Anderson gets a big chunk of yardage.
They mark it down on the 5-yard line. Jamal Willis on the sweep. Stiffs arms his way in for 6. Ed Miller there to try to stop Jamal Willis. And Willis said, He put the arm out and fought his way in for the touchdown.
He runs so confidently, Craig. When he got out on that corner, it almost looked as if he said, there's just one guy here to try to take care of me. No problem. I'll just stiff arm him off and make this touchdown. And no problem. 2J out in front didn't even have to throw a block because Willis just races to the corner.
Keith Lever will try the point after. And the kick up and good. So the second half starts very much like the first. The Utes turn it over, and the Cougars scored. When we started this game, BYU turned it over, and Utah scored. It's 34-17. Brigham Young with the lead, thanks to that young man, Jamal Willis. At Cougar Stadium, 34-17 after that 5-yard run by Jamal Willis. And that's one thing Ron McBride did not want to happen. They won the toss to start this game. They deferred because they wanted the football to start the second half. And the interception by Gomes leading to that touchdown run by Jamal Willis. Keith Lever has it teed up. And the ball taken by Sean Williams at the 4-yard line. Takes it right up the middle, and he is upended. What a tackle put on there by Travis Hall, number 49, the backup linebacker.
Here's a look at that scoring drive again. You see 2J out to help block, but Utah never attacked on the corner there. And so Jamal Willis, he's got the speed and strength to get out there. If you're going to put him one-on-one on a defensive back, he's going to run right through the tackle as he did there on Ed Miller. 2 plays, 42 yards, 18 seconds on that drive, Greg.
Jason Woods now starts at quarterback for Utah. Hands it up the middle. And Keith Williams picks up about 7.
Keith Williams straight up the middle.
BYU football is brought to you by your local Winegers, Allen Super Safe, Bestway, Foodtown, Macy's, and Thriftway stores. Members of Associated Food Stores. Jason Woods came in last week for the injured Dolce. Put up some pretty good numbers, in fact. 116 yards against UTEP, 11 out of 20. Back to the ground. Keith Williams gets the first down, +2.
Williams straight up the middle.
Brian Rowley, by the way, has just become Utah's career reception yardage leader with 2,295 yards.
Rocky Beagle and Lenny Gomes making the tackle.
Now with Jason Woods in the game, Craig, you have a whole different type of style. Richmond a little more mobile. Woods kind of a drop back, stand in the pocket, deliver quarterback. He's got a strong arm. He can throw the football around the field, and that's what they'll need here in the second half.
On first down, little counter trap. Abrams runs like a tank. Crutchfield, he carries 7 Utes, 20 yards down to the 32-yard line. What a run by Abrams. Let me just go back to the quarterback change. Could it be Woods is 6'5", Richmond 6 feet, and he's thrown 2 interceptions to the big fella in the middle. He can't see over the defensive lineman for Brigham Young.
And when BYU's bringing that many people, that might be part of the problem. You see Abrams here, just such a hard-working back. He's so smart, too. They like him because he'll do so many things for them. He never misses a block. He always runs the right route, and he's one of the smartest players they have on the offense. And so there you just see his true determination. He dragged 5, 6, 7 Cougars down the field for 10 yards.
Big final just crossing. Indiana beating Purdue 24-22. That's a final. The Boilermakers missed a 35-yard field goal with 28 seconds left. So Indiana with the big upset today.
And that has some bearing on the Copper Bowl. So even more at stake here for Utah if they win this game in true contention, because Purdue was being considered for that as well. So they receive word of that on the sideline, maybe light a little bit of fire under the Utes.
I'm sure that will make its way down there somehow. You look at Ron McBride, took his stocking cap off.
Figured he was hot enough down there.
Utah on the move. Giles coming in on the blitz. Jason Wood stands up, lets it fly, and overthrows everybody. ROWLEY out there.
I think he expected Sean Williams to go to the corner on that one. Number 3 out there. Went on a slant, and he expected him to go back to the corner, and he just stopped. And you never know who's right or wrong on that. But obviously a mix-up between the quarterback and his wide receiver, Sean Williams.
That stops the clock with 11:17 left to play in the third quarter. It was 27-17 at the half. An interception by Lenny Gomes led to a 5-yard touchdown run by Willis, and the Cougars now lead at 34-17. Across the middle, Woods picked off. Rocky Beagle. And the linebacker still on his feet and knocked out of bounds at the 40-yard line. And the tackle made by Lloyd Rocchini, the fullback, and Rocky Beagle got started up, and boy, he put on some afterburners.
And once he gets that 225 pounds going, he's tough to stop. He's got good speed. Williams was just trying to sneak underneath, and Jason Woods read blitz, except for the 2 inside backers did not blitz that time. They stayed back in pass coverage. He never saw Rocky Beagle coming from the left side. Just snuck underneath Williams and makes the big play for BYU.
What is this? Third quarter have some eerie resemblances to the first quarter of play.
Only with a shoe on the other foot.
Shoe on the other foot. Drage lines up in the slot to the left. Contact made at the line of scrimmage. We'll see what happened. Who moved first? Contact made between the center of BYU and Dave Chadors, number 47.
Dead ball foul. Offside. Defense. Still first down.
So it'll be first down and 5. Moves the ball just outside the 35-yard line for BYU. And Ron McBride continues to pace, and Lavelle Edwards in his usual pose. Play action, Ty Detmer, the quick flip, the catch made. Drage stops on a dime, still on his feet, spins out of a tackle, hits his own man. Oh, what a collision. Brian May and Drage.
And it looks like Brian May's the one slow to get up. If you would ask me, if Brian May and Eric Drage run into each other, who's going to be shaken up, I would say Drage, but May was not expecting Drage to make that kind of a cutback. This is what he does with the ball after he catches it. He stops and starts. He makes the defenders overrun him, and he's just going to swim through a couple of tackles here. First through Edwards, and then he gets spun around by Miller before May actually comes in and makes the tackle on him.
Boy, Brian May, 285, Drage, 185. That's a 100-pound difference right there. On first down, Ty stands in the pocket, fires a strike, and Nowatzki makes the grab near the first down marker. He may be about a half a foot shy.
And there is a flag out on the 35-yard line, Craig.
Nowatzki, a freshman out of Michigan City, Indiana. He's a freshman, his 4th reception of the season.
Nowatzki was just running a curl. But the difference between the curl he just ran for a reception and the one Vernon Shaver for Utah ran in the last series for an interception was that Nowatzki kept coming back to the quarterback and Shaver just stopped. The way BYU's backing up, it looks like that call is going to go against the Cougars. I don't know, now they're kind of milling around like a bunch of cattle down there.
Trying to keep their feet warm.
And Guy Gibbs will give us the call.
Dead ball foul, personal foul on the offensive team. It's still second down, or it is second down.
So that, since it's a dead ball foul happened after the play, you get the reception out to the 21-yard line. You take it back 15 yards from there, and now you've got second down and about 15 or 16.
Actually, first down.
It should be second. The box and the scoreboard say first, but with a dead ball foul, you've got to count the down. It happened after the play.
Right, now Guy Gibbs making that change on the sideline and on the scoreboard. Yes, second down and 15 at the Utah 35. Tui Pelotu, the lone back. Double slot to the left. Ty on the roll. Going back across the grain. Peter T. in the open and nearly picked off. Ty threw in a double coverage, and good defensive coverage by Preston Christensen, number 48. And they got what they wanted, a little linebacker against running back. But that ball hung up there a bit.
That's one of the best pass defenses you can run. They call it double man or two deep man. What you do is you play man-to-man defense on all the receivers underneath, and then you take two safeties and you put them back on the hashes, and they just back everybody up. And so while Christensen was in good coverage trailing Tui Pelotu, he also had help from Levon Edwards, who was deep, to come up and help him on that running back out of the backfield.
Third down. Detmer with a quick flip to Jamal Willis. He's got blockers out in front. Willis gives a push, and he rolls past the 20 down to the 19-yard line. Another flag down at the 15. But that was picked up in a hurry. Now he throws it back down to the 23.
Jamal Willis, with his ability to read blocks, he's an ideal person to put out on a screen pass. He's just going to turn on the jet. He gets his hand on the back of Garrett Touget here and says, okay, I'm going to ride you, big fella. Take me to some yardage.
Boy, Touget ran over Ed Miller.
Reggie Olsen came up and stuck his nose in it and finally was able to bring Willis down.
I'll tell you, Guy Gibbs, you and your crew putting in some overtime today. Stalking the sideline.
Interesting to see what the Utes do, because they made an excellent.
I'll tell you, this is a long conversation here.
This year with the 32nd annual Christmas around the world.
They've had
BYU International Folk Dancers.
We got to have a discussion about how many flags they're throwing here in the game.
You notice Ty Detmer down there, captain for the Cougars, listening in at the 35.
There's the officials conference there.
Doug Miller, you in on that conversation by any chance?
378 BYU.
You know, so far I'm not in that huddle.
Could you make your way over there?
It'd be interesting to be in there and see what Guy Gibbs is pointing at right now.
Pointing at the ground, and evidently they need to find some kind of a spot, but they have not even given us an initial indication about what the penalty is.
Dig here, they say.
Ty was visiting with a couple of youth players about it. You guys know what's happening?
Took place after the ball was caught during the running play. We're going to go spot to the foul.
They're going to go from the spot of the foul.
So at least Guy Gibbs gives us an opportunity to understand what's going on. That's what they're trying to decide, where the hold took place. It took place during the run on the screen pass. It goes from the spot of the foul. So again, BYU gets big yardage, and they bring it back, and now it's 3rd and about 14.
Jamal Willis and Peter Tuipulotu line up as the two backs. Myron Rex, the slot to the left. 3rd down, the quick flip across the middle to Drage, and he drops it at the 36-yard line, thrown behind Eric Drage. So now it's 4th and 14 at the 34-yard line.
Kind of a slow series of downs here, Craig. That was just a middle screen. Detmer did not make a good throw to Drage. Little middle screen. Florida State's made those quick underneath balls to the wide receivers famous this year. A lot of teams starting to do that because of Florida State's success at throwing that underneath ball.
Earl Kaufman at his own 50-yard line. Lavon Edwards back at the 10 to receive the punt. This will be a touch punt, so to speak, for Kaufman.
I think they're going to let the clock go down so he can hit it a little harder.
Step it off 5 yards.
Now, if Utah wants to decline it, they can. They can say, we're not going to play any games with you. You're going to have to try to touch punt it from here, and they can refuse the penalty and force them to do it from there.
The Ron McBride says no. He wants Lavon Edwards to have an opportunity to return this punt. Back downstairs, Doug Miller.
While we're sorting out the penalty and marking the downs off, I'll introduce you to Dr. Jim Marshall. In fact, Jim, let's watch this play, and then we'll come back down. Craig?
Penalties, there's been a bundle today, 16 flags in all, and the Utes are coming. Kaufman gets it up high. Edwards, fair catches at the 11-yard line. Doug Miller?
One of the reasons that players are stronger and faster these days is the sophistication of pads. And Dr. Marshall, Doctor, we're going to hang on just one more minute. We're going to take a break here. 34-17, BYU with a lead. We'll be right back.
Balloon ride today over Cougar Stadium.
If I was up there, I would definitely have some serious heavy clothing on.
They've got a good seat, though. 34-17, back to action. Jason Woods, the quarterback for Utah. And that running game just nowhere to go. Gomes and company stuffing up the middle. Keith Williams, the ball carrier. Downstairs, Doug Miller. How about one more time?
Rocky Beagle is wearing one of these contraptions today. Doctor, what's this designed to do?
Well, basically, when a boy hurts his shoulder, has a shoulder separation, he's out for a couple of weeks. And we can put this on him and protect the shoulder with this bubble, and he's able to play about 2 weeks sooner, and he's just a lot safer.
And perhaps the guy that Rocky Beagle hits is wearing one of those also today.
Well, he may be.
All right, Craig.
All right, thank you, Doug. The catch made by Vernon Shaver. Close to a first down. They may have to measure here at the 22-yard line. Toyota and their quality line of 1992 cars and trucks is bringing you today's football game. As we look at it one more time, Woods with the bullet pass to Vernon Shaver.
And that's Wood's strength right there, to drop back in the pocket, take 5 steps, and throw those underneath curls and those kinds of things. Shaver faked like he was going deep and came underneath.
It is a first down at the 23-yard line.
Doug, it's amazing what those medical people can do. I remember not too long ago that if you had a knee scoped, you were out for at least 6 weeks and possibly the season. And now we see guys get their knee scopes and play that week. The medical advances.
Maybe you can see the little spot of the foam that was cut away. The pad's designed to ride over one little sensitive spot in the shoulder separation. That's the problem that keeps players out.
The handoff goes to Keith Williams off the left side, maybe 2 yards, as the Cougars pursue down the line. Brian Mitchell, or Patrick Mitchell there, along with Shad Hansen.
And those pads all with the synthetic fibers and the foams and the closed cells that resilient memory, they call them memory foams, that hold the shape of an individual's body that you're fitted to. They're just so much more protected. Can you imagine the weight and the speed 20 years ago without those kind of pads?
Technology has come a long way. Second down, the quick flip to Williams, and he is tackled down by Beagle from behind. a couple yards shy of the first down. Doug, I was just kind of wondering, maybe you ought to be fitted for some sort of bodysuit down there today.
You know, on the sidelines, you got to be a little bit alert. You have a safety zone that keeps you 5 yards off the field, but there's always that chance.
When BYU blitzes like that, you end up having man-to-man coverage, and we talked about it earlier. If you can sneak a back out underneath like Keith Williams, you can isolate him on a linebacker. Now, Rocky Beagle has good speed, but not Keith Williams type of speed. Good play choice by Utah.
Boy, quick hitter up the middle. Lloyd Rocchini picks up a quick 9, maybe 10, down to the 45-yard line. Utes are trying to reestablish the running game.
We saw that was just a quick draw trap type of a play, or a counter trap, which just came out. They pulled the left guard out in front. And that was Roy Maafala, who went out and made that trap block on Gomes, which allowed Rocchini to make that run up the middle.
A first down for Utah. Back to the ground. And number 23, Charlie Brown, he's wrestled out at near the 50-yard line, a pickup of 4.
Charlie Brown made a good cut to the outside. That one was designed to go off tackle. He broke to the outside, but ran into Hansen and Levitt, and then Derwin Gray. Have you ever seen Derwin Gray make a low tackle? He seems to go high most of the time.
Where the ears steer him.
Mr. Spock, indeed. Second down, 6. Jason Woods under the center. Woods with a quick flip outside, and Charlie Brown rumbles down inside the 40 to the 37-yard line. And stepping in the booth, my pleasure to introduce Jack Morris, MVP of the World Series. Glad to have you, Jack. Appreciate you coming by. What do you think about this football game today?
You're attacking the West.
Again, Jack Morris, the MVP of the World Series. He's going to sit with us for a few plays as the Utes make their move downfield. Woods with a quick flip out to Sean Williams. Got some running room at the 30 and knocked out of bounds at the 26. Jack, have you had time to just relax after what's happened to you the last, what, 4 or 5 months?
It's been busy. They keep you going after a World Series win like that, but it's been enjoyable. It's great to be back here in Utah. It's been a few years since I've been back, and just the fond memories I've had here at BYU. It's great to be back. See this great facility they built. They made it bigger since I was here.
It is a sight to see. The quick hitter off the left side, and Brad Foster stopped at the 25-yard line.
It's amazing where the sports program has gone here at BYU in recent years. It hasn't been too long. Just when I was back here in '81, the stadium did not have these end zones here, and I think the overall sports program has really come along in the last 10 years here.
Well, the fact that they put 60+ thousand people in here certainly has got to help the athletic department.
Now a timeout called by Utah. So we're going to step aside, take a break. We'll come back, talk to Jack Morris. 5:51 left in the third quarter. Good day for a hat, good day for a coat. The sun's out, though, at least here in Provo. It's a chilly afternoon, and the Cougars on top here in Provo, 34-17. The Utes knocking on the door down at the 25-yard line. Jason Wood at quarterback. Stands in that pocket, lets it fly. Boy, what a gun. Overthrows his receiver, ROWLEY. Back on coverage, Crutchfield and Josh Arnold. And we're back in the booth here with Jack Morris of the Minnesota Twins. Or, Jack, I don't know. Can I put you on the spot? You're a free agent. Going back to Minnesota, your gut feeling, or what do you think?
I'd like to go back to Minnesota. It couldn't be a whole lot better than it was this year for me in baseball, and I appreciate that community a whole lot. We'll just wait and see. It's a business thing right now, and everybody involved knows what's happening.
Well, I tell you, baseball salaries, unbelievable, aren't they?
Thanks to the fans. Thank you all.
That says it all. Jason Woods in trouble, and down he goes at the 25-yard line. Kevin Nickel, number 55, there to make the sack his 4th of the season.
Craig, you've got to credit the coaching staff for having confidence in their secondary. Last week, burned deep several times against San Diego State, and they decided that it wasn't the secondary's fault so much as it was they weren't getting pressure on the quarterback. They've had the confidence to come and blitz now and leave those men man-to-man, and they've done a good job here this afternoon.
Jurgensen will try a 43-yard field goal. He is right down the middle of the field. A high snap, a good hold, and Jurgensen with the knuckleball just wide to the left. So he misses from 44 yards out. And the Cougars take over at the 25-yard line.
Jack, you talked about it being a business, and that there's some business decisions. Does it ever get to the point where it feels like business out there, or are you still enjoying the game as you go out and pitch?
When I'm pitching, when I'm on the field, I don't ever let anything come into besides the game of baseball. I enjoy the purity of the game. You either do your job or you disappear, and you find yourself at another job somewhere else. And that's always been the same and always will be the same. But a guy's got to do what he got to do. I think if people understood each and every player's position, they'd pretty much do what the players have done. The owner's the same way. They're trying to run a business the best they can.
As we watch Detmer flip it out to Peter Tuipulotu, a 9-yard pickup. Jack, there's a lot of guys out there. I think about 100 free agents that filed soon after the World Series. There's a lot of talent out there looking for new homes. I'm just curious, in professional sports, do you still see a player with loyalties as much as maybe 5-10 years ago?
Well, I think it's harder and rarer today in all sports to have a guy play his whole career in one city. But loyalty is a two-way street. Both sides of the table have to be loyal, and that's why you're not seeing it as much anymore.
Good point. Second down and a short one. Cougars go to the ground. Peter Tuipulotu tripped up, but he got the first just outside the 35-yard line. Peter T. playing his final game here at Cougar Stadium. A senior out of San Mateo, California. There's Detmer's numbers on the day. 12 out of 23 for 261 yards, the 3 touchdowns. And this game is being brought to you by the dairy farmers of Utah, who remind you that milk does a body good. That delayed trap to Peter T. down near the 50-yard line. A pickup of 12. You think, Blaine, that you see that play on game films week after week. It's just hard to defend. Simple.
It is. And the thing of it is, BYU is so effective at throwing the football that as a linebacker, as soon as Detmer steps back from the center, your first thought is, hey, I've got to get back in my drop, because if I don't get back there, he'll pick me apart. And as they're successful throwing the ball, they come back with that draw, and you're back on your heels. It makes an easy block for those offensive linemen.
The Tulamili, number 96, makes a quick entrance, lines up at tight end. Tuipulotu out of the backfield. Detmer in that pocket. He's in trouble. Lets it fly. Throws behind Drage, but heavy pressure by Dave Chadors, number 47.
Check that World Series this year was, without a doubt, the most exciting that I've ever had a chance to watch. Would you call that the highlight of your career? I know you've done a lot of good things over the years. How would you rate that in terms of your career?
Well, obviously, it's one of the more exciting moments I've ever been involved with in baseball. But for me, the most exciting part about it is I had my 2 sons there to watch the last game, and they were old enough to appreciate what their dad did and what their dad's team did, and that made me feel better than anything could have done.
The pitch out to Jamal Willis, and by the way, Jack, when do you get that big ring?
Baseball tradition, opening day is next year.
You got to wait that long.
It'll be opening day somewhere next year.
That's quite a thrill to have your boys there with you. So many athletes, their careers done and over by the time their children are old enough to recognize what's even going on. We're all old has-beens by the time our kids are old enough, and that would be a thrill to have your family there with you and enjoy that.
It was exciting.
Third down and 8 for Brigham Young inside Utah territory at the 49. Detmer with that 7-step drop. Got a man across the middle, is tight end Byron Rex, and he rumbles inside the 30 to the 27-yard line. Rex, a 230-pound junior out of Bellflower, California.
Tackle was made by 24, Ricky O.
So, Jack, you mentioned you had your boys with you there. Do they really realize what their dad has accomplished, or do they take it for granted? I know sometimes when you're close to someone, you know, oh, that's just dad. Doesn't everybody's dad pitch in the World Series and those kind of things? Or do they realize what a great dad they have, what a great pitcher you are, and the magnitude of all of that?
Well, let's watch this play here.
Let him think on that one.
That's
a heavy
tough
question.
one.
Detmer, with less than 3 minutes left in the quarter, dances around, plenty of time, going for Peter T.
How about that?
There's a flag down at the 8-yard line.
Even I understand you can't tackle him before he catches it.
If you're going to give Detmer that kind of time back there, you're not only going to put pressure on the secondary, but the linebackers, and you've got a linebacker running with Tuipulotu. He came all the way across field and then back to the corner. And when you've got that kind of time, even if you have good speed as Kelvin Lambert does, there's no way you're going to stay with Tuipulotu.
Jack, I know you got a lot to do. We just want to thank you for coming up. And real quick, how about this winter, I guess? You're just going to take it easy and see what happens, I guess, with the Twins, huh?
Well, we're going to try to work things out as soon as we can. I've enjoyed spending the time here at BYU and being back in Utah, and I really appreciate the years I had here, and I thank you guys for having me up here right now.
Jack, my pleasure. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Real pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Jack Morris, the MVP of the World Series with the Minnesota Twins. And we thank him for coming by. Well, I tell you, you got to watch out for those headsets, too. They hit the floor. 2:40 left in the third quarter. Detmer and company with a first down at the 17-yard line of Utah. Detmer in the pocket, going for the home run ball. Drage comes back. I believe the ball bounced. Touchdown, no, Drage.
And if you get that ball out in the general direction of Drage, he's going to bring the football in. That was a little short on the throw by Ty Detmer, and Drage just came back and got it.
There's a flag down at the 23, but the Cougars are indicating touchdown.
You see again Detmer in the face of a big rush. Let's take a look at it.
No, that ball bounced
in between the two arms. Now, if this is the NFL, Craig,
we just overturned it for you.
We overturned it for him, but this is college football, and Drage came back and made it look good enough to get the reception. There is no review in college football, so that one will stand. But you're right, Craig, that bounced in between his arms.
I think Ron McBride saw that plain and clear. And they say it is a touchdon. Leave her in to try the point after. But you can see on the replay clearly bounced between the arms of Eric Drage. Joe Evans the hold, and the kick is up and good. And the Cougars build a 41-17 lead with 2:33 left here to play in the third quarter.
Take a look at that again. Detmer coming back. Again, a big pass rush, but he lets it fly. Now take a look. You be the judge. Does this bounce on the ground? Question is, did it bounce or did it get his arms under and have it bounce off of there? Detmer liked it. And he's letting the defense know about it. He's having a talk with Luther Ellis there, saying, even though you're in my face, I still let it go.
So the Cougars defense have shut out the Utes here in the second half so far. It was 27-17 at the half. A Willis touchdown, 5 yards out, and a touchdown toss from Ty Detmer to Eric Drage. And that's where we stand at 41-17. Utah scored the first 10 points of this football game after 2 quick turnovers by Brigham Young. 2:33 left to go, third quarter.
BYU on defense, Craig. After those first 2 drives, of course, Utah had beautiful field position, but they start to settle down and be comfortable playing man-to-man there in secondary. And when they start to get to Richmond, and now they're starting to get to Woods, it's making it awful tough on the Ute quarterbacks to throw the football effectively.
That flag enabled Lever to kick it from midfield. Shaver trying to turn the corner on the far side, and he's knocked out of bounds at the 19-yard line. Vernon Shaver, a redshirt freshman out of San Diego, California.
And that looked like Todd Herget that finally did get to Shaver on the sideline to bring him down.
Jason Woods trots back on. Mike Richmond started this game, got the Utes rolling, threw a couple interceptions, however, and Ron McBride made the switch at quarterback. On first down, up the middle goes Keith Williams.
Keith Williams straight up the middle.
And he'll pick up a gain of 6 on the carry.
Utah is starting to run the football more effectively here in the second half, Craig. However, when you're 24 points down, you have to start to think about run, play action, pass, and try to get some points in a hurry.
A crucial series here for Utah. Back to the ground. A nice opening off the right side. And Keith Williams stumbles up near the 40-yard line. A first down for Utah. Had he kept his balance, he had some more field to look at. Williams, 5'8", 180. He's got that Joe Morris type of running style, just kind of a scat back.
Really does. Wears the same number that Joe Morris wore. He's low to the ground. He's got a strong upper body as well, a lot like Joe Morris, but no doubt he's a big-time back.
It's amazing what numbers will do to recall players. I mean, we talked about Jamal Willis and Dickerson. Dickerson, by the way, wears 29. Back to the ground, and boy, right now Keith Williams has taken the Cougars on one-on-one. Another first down at midfield.
I said he had a play-action pass, but I guess you don't if you run for 10 or 15 yards at a crack rate. You go run right down the field. And not a trap or anything, just a clean man-to-man situation. And Utah starting to control things up front right now. BYU's laid off a little bit on the blitzes, and Williams chewing up some yardage.
Dewey Gray made the stop. A first down at the 50-yard line. Just over a minute left in this quarter. Woods wants to throw on first down. A little bump and no flags. ROWLEY going one-on-one with Patrick Mitchell, the freshman.
And Mitchell turned and ran. Didn't have any help deep. Had him all by himself. And ROWLEY with good speed, not able to go by Mitchell. Mitchell is one of the quicker defensive backs. In fact, probably the fastest on the BYU team. So. You mentioned numbers, Craig. You talk about numbers. I think a lot of times young guys, as they're growing up, if they start to look like a player, people tell them that, and they choose that number. I wouldn't be surprised if Keith Williams chose 20 because of that. Or Jamal Willis. I'm sure he's been compared to Eric Dickerson for several years, and he may have chose that number because of that.
Woods with the quick flip, and the pass is dropped by Charlie Brown at midfield. Josh Arnold on the coverage. You know, you look at this series, started back in 1922. Utah, though, leads it, 40 wins, 22 defeats, and there's been 4 ties in this series. But the Cougars have won 9 of the last 10.
It's been a series that's been dominated in streaks, early by Utah and lately by BYU. As we see the replay, Charlie Brown just turned out, but Josh Arnold in good position. Still should have made that catch, though. That was a tough throw for Woods, backpedaling against the big rush, and he put it where it needed to be.
Did my homework. How about the last time the Utes beat the Cougars here in Provo? Don't look.
Oh, you got me.
1971. It's been 20 years. And they won that game 17-15.
See, but I was just a little boy, and you were an old guy then.
I was
That's
the old
why
guy.
you know that, see?
That's right.
That's what it is. You've been talking to Orville, our stat man, Greg, and getting...
Orville has been filling me all this stuff. All right, Doug Miller, you keep him warm?
Oh, yeah. Shadows kind of lengthening here at Cougar Stadium. It's getting a little cooler, no doubt about it. Plenty of warmth here along the Utah bench, though. One of the things you're trying to heat up is defense. Greg McMackin, the defensive coordinator, is over trying to breathe a little new intensity into defense. So is big defensive lineman Mike Lewis. I'll tell you, one of the key strengths of the turnaround of this program this year, and I'm sure you'll admit, Greg, or you'll join me in that, is Ron McBride's emphasis on defense and McMackin's organization of a great defensive scheme has made the Utah team the league leader in pass defense.
And Woods gets it out to Sean Williams. He's a junior out of Lakeview Terrace, California. Tackled by Mr. Radar.
And watch Derwin Gray on this one. He goes for the karate chop. What he's trying to do there is strip the ball. He gets a handful of shirt, and now he's going to try to strip that ball. But because Williams turns, he ends up hitting him on the shoulder pad. That has to hurt your hand. Good play by Sean Williams, just a nice underneath throw. Now it's going to be a big fourth down play.
No question, Ron McBride going for it. Time winding down here in the third quarter. They will probably get the play away. 5 seconds left. They hand off. And Keith Williams dives over the 40 down near the 38-yard line. A first down for Utah, and a big fourth down call by Ron McBride.
And how's that for confidence in your running game? 4th and 3, normally a passing down. He just gives it to Keith Williams, and he gets it without a problem.
As you look at the Wasatch front, we've got 15 minutes left to play, and the Cougars up 41-17.
You've already seen how Smith's can save you on pet foods, dressings and sauces, and paper products. Now how about baking goods? You won't find a wider selection anywhere, and a new survey by certified public accountants shows Smith's prices lower overall than the other full-service supermarkets. Details are available at our store. But remember, when it comes to baking goods, you'll pay less, not on every item, but overall and every day at Smith's. We have a better way to run a supermarket.
Mom, Dad, this Christmas, I really need my own telephone line from US West. That way, if I have any questions about school, I can just call Bob without tying up your phone. He's real smart at conjugating nouns and stuff. We can talk about English and history. It's for my intellectual development. I might even figure out algebra.
This Christmas, get a free Telemania phone when you purchase a second line from US West, making the most of your time.
Channel 5 presents Your Health Today. This segment sponsored by HCA St. Mark's Hospital.
Arthroscopy, the use of a remote video-producing instrument to view the inner workings of the knee, has been a useful diagnostic tool to physicians for many years. It has especially helped sports medicine experts pinpoint injuries. Today, improved technology has broadened the role of arthroscopy.
Major scientific advancements, including very miniaturized microprocessor cameras, improved instrumentation, and new high-speed power equipment, have extended the uses of arthroscopy to include surgical repair of the knee and other joints, such as the shoulder, elbow, wrist, and ankle. Arthroscopy surgery is most beneficial when combined with effective rehabilitation. Patients who fully comply with their doctor's recommendations for exercise and physical therapy will more quickly resume the activities they enjoy.
To learn more, call HCA St. Mark's, your Center for Excellence in Orthopedics, at 268-7777.
And welcome back to Cougar Stadium. Craig Bolerjack, Blaine Fowler, and Doug Miller here to call the final 15 minutes. And the Utes need a touchdown. They're at the BYU 39-yard line. Down 41-17. Abrams skips and hops over the 35 down to the 33-yard line. A pickup of 7 for Abrams. He's been battling mononucleosis, and has not really been at full strength, but he has played well today in spotty duty.
You know, when he's been in there, he has been effective. Whatever they've asked him to do, he's done well. All-around guy.
Second down and 4 on the Cougar 33-yard line. The Utes need to get just inside the 30. Back to the ground. Williams fumbles the football. BYU on it.
Giles is the guy on the bottom of the pile that came up with the ball, but boy, that took about 2 or 3 grabs at it to get hold of it.
Josh Arnold took the first stab at it, I believe. Williams tried to cut to the outside, and the ball was still in his right hand. And then you saw Giles was actually the one that grabbed Williams' right arm. And when Arnold missed it, Giles actually recovered the fumble. So that's a rare fumble caused and fumble recovered on the same play.
So the turnover gives BYU a first down at their own 35. Detmer fakes the play action. He's in trouble, spins out of a tackle, flips it back to Jamal Willis. A lot of room at the 40. At midfield at the 50. Makes a nifty move and still on his feet and tackled down at the 40, but a flag down. As soon as that tackle was made, a flag was thrown.
You know, Craig, as soon as you think Ty Detmer is caught in the backfield, he seems to find a way to get out of there and make a throw and keep his vision open. Utah coming with all four linebackers that time. He still squeaked out and got it out to Willis. And this man knows what to do with the football after he gets it out in the open.
Anthony Davis chased him down. And a clip against Brigham Young. All right, here we go. Here's our third quarter Utah Honda dealer summary. In passing yardage, it's been another wild one in the air today. Detmer at an even 300. And between Jason Woods and also starting today, Mike Richmond, they racked up 241. A lot of offense in this game.
And notice Utah is up to 103 yards rushing now. That is at halftime after they were -5. So they've established that running game here in the second half. The problem is, down this far, they're going to need to get that passing game going to get back into the football.
And that stat sheet does not include the turnover we just saw. So 4
we have a clipping penalty
turnovers in this game for Utah, 3 by Brigham Young.
And 1 yard to go. Something that's becoming more popular on the sideline, the heater.
Those shadows are really starting to creep across on the west side of the field.
I just whipped out my handy weather school thermometer again. It's dropped to 34 degrees. It was up above 40 at one point during the game, but it's really getting cold, and a little breeze has picked up. Chill factor is really dropping.
First down and 1. Nowatzki lines up in the slot. And they slant Drage in, and a good coverage there by Mark Swanson, the left cornerback. Lane on 1st and 1. That's basically a free play. I'm surprised they didn't really try to gun it downfield.
Well, they didn't. They ended up making a side adjustment on a blitz there. Utah decided to come with a blitz, and that was not a called audible. But when Drage saw the safety come, he immediately adjusted to a slant, and Detmer just didn't make the throw.
Second down and 1 at the 44-yard line. Drage in the slot to the right. Cougars go to the ground, and Peter Tuipulotu spins out of a tackle, got the first down, past the 45 to the 46-yard line.
You know, on 2nd and 1, Craig, a lot of teams will consider 2nd and 1 a giveaway down. They figure, hey, we can get a yard or 6 inches on 3rd down. Let's go up top and try to surprise the defense. But I would say BYU, 9 times out of 10, maybe even more than that, 95% of the time will run the ball and get the first down. Norm Chow believes in first downs and ball control, even though they're a throwing team. So he tries to get that first down, and if he doesn't get it, he'll come back and get it on 3rd down.
1st and 10 at the 46. Detmer out of the shotgun. Stands in the pocket. Drage makes the turn, makes the catch. Stops on a dime, makes change, and oh, he took a shot. Todd Lawson hit him right in the numbers, and he put him flat on his back. The boy Drage is so dangerous after he catches the football.
And again, Ty Detmer threw that ball while Drage was still running a post. And as Drage turned around, the ball was right on, and that's so difficult to defend. But Todd Lawson just introduced himself to Drage. Drage will remember that hit. That was quite a shot.
The crowd today here at Cougar Stadium, 66,003. And that puts BYU into a new single-season attendance record here at Cougar Stadium. Detmer on the rollout. Good protection. Good coverage downfield. Now Ty has to scramble. Sidearms it to Byron Rex, and he's hit up high and leveled at the 25-yard line. And the tackle made by Ed Miller, the right cornerback. You know, we've seen some receivers today, such as Tyler Anderson and Tim Nowatzki. That's because Bryce Dolman, Nadi Valdez, both out for the rest of the season. Dolman's been out a long time. Nadi broke his collarbone, and so did Dolman.
Yeah, both on touchdown catches.
That's right.
If you're going to go out in style and catch a touchdown, Paul, but it's like an assembly line. They just keep pumping out those receivers, and they're doing a good job.
Detmer got a man. Anderson, touchdown. And there you have it, Ty to Tyler. Detmer hits Anderson, his 4th touchdown catch of the season.
You mentioned it earlier. Anderson is BYU's true deep threat. He just went on a streak straight up the sideline, and the touch from the quarterback doesn't get any better than that. Detmer just lets it fly perfectly in stride for Tyler Anderson in the end zone.
That's 5 touchdown passes for Detmer today. He's ran another one in. And Lever will try the extra point. Evans the holder, and he boots it through. And Brigham Young really pulling away here in the second half. They lead at 48-17. We've got a timeout at Cougar Stadium. We'll be back.
Ty Detmer passes 15,000 yards.
Ich mag das Schöne dieser Welt. Ich mag den Wind im Roggenfeld. Ich mag es, wenn der Tag erwacht und die Sonne dazu lacht. Ich mag plaudern am Nachmittag, Obstkuchen mit Schlag. Ich mag die Lichter meiner Stadt, diskutieren bis in die Nacht. Lass mich von deinem Duft verführen, deine Wärme spüren. Caro, ich mag dich. Du bist einfach gut. Caro, der korngesunde Landkaffee.
What's behind your neighborhood independent supermarket? The biggest buying power in the Intermountain West. And because we buy more than anyone else, we can sell for less. This week, you'll save on delicious Ocean Spray cranberry drinks are sale priced at just $1.99. Great for dips and chowders. Gordon's chopped or minced clams are only 69 cents each. And Western Family large pitted olives are specially priced at just 69 cents a can. So buy all you want. We'll get more at Macy's, Weinigers, and Allen's.
In this fast-paced world, you have to find products you can depend on. And I've discovered Nu Skin. My hair's never looked so healthy. Nu Skin. Hair care products you can depend on. For every person in your busy life.
Discover Nu Skin. Excellence in personal care products from people who care.
And while we were away, a bit of a fracas broke out around the 10-yard line. Dave Chaters, here's the tape. Chaters had to be pulled away from his head coach, Ron McBride. I'll tell you what, you got like Ron McBride. Went out there and said, guys, get off the football field.
Got a lot of respect.
And it quickly changed. Did you notice? Also in on that Rocky Beagle and a few other Cougars. No ejections, no flags.
Just talked to the officials, and they say it really was more at the end of the play. The youth player, they were tangled in a pile. They wouldn't untangle. They were screaming at each other. Just one of those kind of little aftermaths of the touchdown play. He said nobody was ejected, no punches were thrown. It was just a matter of getting it broken up.
Earl Kaufman. That ball dies and at the 11-yard line, picked up, however, by Charlie Brown, and he takes it back to the 30-yard line. And Ty Detmer's done it again.
With that pass, Craig, Ty Detmer passes the 15,000-yard career mark, 15,089 yards on that one. So that's a bunch of yards, Craig. No doubt about it.
Just a little less than 3 miles.
boy.
.48-17, a lot of time left in this game, 11:39. The Utes have been shut out here in the second half. They'll try to the reverse. Vernon Shaver couldn't get around the corner. And a big hit laid on by Patrick Mitchell, the freshman out of Waco, Texas.
Patrick Mitchell is asking to come out after that hit. They just go with the pitch over to Keith Williams one way and try to bring it back, but BYU was in zone coverage, and so Patrick Mitchell was just staying home. He came up and made the hit, but had to come out afterward, knocked the wind out of him or something, because he asked to come out. There you see him with...
Yeah, holding the shoulder, David Kennard checks in, number 28. Woods nearly picked off by Arnold, and now I don't know if it hit the ground. It's gone. Arnold, it's a live ball. Nope.
Arnold may have got the pick, but he was on the ground when he had it. They'll rule the ball dead at that point.
In the National Football League, you get up and run that one, but that was a weird-looking interception. I'm dying to see this one again because he did not catch it cleanly.
I didn't know if he ever touched the ground.
What happened, it went up, and it kicked off of his ankle, and then he caught the ball. Amazing.
Unbelievable.
There have been some crazy plays in this game. It hit off of his left ankle, went up onto his thigh, and he caught the football.
Detmer's numbers today, 378 yards, 18 of 29, the 5 touchdowns, the 2 interceptions. He ran earlier for the 1 touchdown, and this is his career passing efficiency, Blaine, 162.7.
Today his passing efficiency 214.66. That is, he's had quite a career. Way to go out in style here this afternoon. BYU trying to get a little running game going here. Peter Tuipulotu straight man up blocking on the offense. BYU has not been tremendously effective running the football today against that tough Utah defense, but they've been able to get the big plays through the air when they needed them.
Well, Brian May trots off. He's a senior, and he's replaced by Evan Pilgrim, a freshman. So Brian May walks off the football field. His final time. Ty Detmer will do so in a short time. And now Ty gets a standing ovation. This young man has done so many things here at Brigham Young. His final game at Cougar Stadium.
Standing ovation. Even many of the Ute fans there in the north end zone are standing for Ty Detmer.
And with this game, Ty Detmer also goes over 4,000 yards for the season, the only player in NCAA history to throw 2 seasons of over 4,000 yards.
And now the future, I guess, belongs to this young man, John Walsh, freshman out of Torrance, California. Peter T. stays on the ground, and he just keeps those legs running up to the 24-yard line.
And Peter Tuipulotu, another fine senior that BYU will miss tremendously next year. Look at the leg drive. And now Peter Tuipulotu will come out of the game, his final appearance here in Cougar Stadium.
Mark Atuaya checks in. He's a freshman. Along with number 26 in the backfield. Atuaya off the right side. Flags are down.
Face mask. It will be an inadvertent face mask, but the defender there that had Atuaya as he came through the line snared him. The hand slipped up across his face, and now something else is said. It'll be a personal foul. Ron McBride on the field shouting at not the referees but his own players.
very upset is Ron McBride and Keith Embry.
Keith Embry walks off the field, and McBride continues to lecture.
And you see the face mask penalty there, no doubt about it. Reached out and had a hold.
Kelvin Lambert.
It was Kelvin Lambert on the penalty. McBride, he's a class coach, and he doesn't want anything to be taken away from this game with silly things like that. He does not put up with that, and I've got a lot of respect for the man because he doesn't like any shenanigans, anything like that to go on the field, and he's very adamant about that with his players. He's a good coach. He's really turned this program around, and will continue to have a good program here.
One thing Brigham Young has done today, and that's keep the heavy pass rush away from Detmer. They lead the conference with 54 sacks when the day started. And Jimmy Bellamy, number 1 in the conference with 15 QB sacks. Atuaya, right up the middle. You can hear those pads popping. They're still hitting out there. Atuaya down to the 5-yard line. On the stop, Kelvin Lambert, number 46. He's a junior. He'll be back.
Second and goal on the 6-yard line.
Now an official timeout.
Official timeout.
Well, Craig, if this game holds up, which, barring a miracle, it will, what do you think about BYU Iowa in the Holiday Bowl?
Hayden Fry made it very clear this week he wanted to play Brigham Young. The Hawkeyes, that game set for December 30th in San Diego, Jack Murphy Stadium.
Be an interesting matchup. Iowa is a very physical football team. They like to run the ball at you. That's probably into BYU's strength. They run defense very, very well. And I don't know that Iowa has seen a passing team like BYU this year, and that should make for an interesting game. Could be a wild one again.
You know, with what happened today between Indiana and Purdue, you know, you still have to wonder if Copper Bowl officials wouldn't want this Utah team.
I wouldn't see why not. They're a fine football team. They're exciting. We've seen that today. And with Purdue losing, I don't know why they wouldn't still be in contention for that Copper Bowl berth.
Walsh in trouble, and he's going to go down. And the Utes get a sack. Lambert along with Martin team up to put Walsh on his back at the 15-yard line. And the clock continues to run. Just under 9 minutes to play.
And Utah brought both outside linebackers and both inside linebackers. A lot of pressure on Walsh.
9 yards on the play.
The big key there, however, in the secondary, Utah had everybody covered well. Walsh didn't have anywhere to go quick.
You can see those shadows creeping up now in the south end of the end zone at the 20-yard line. Play action. Heavy pressure, and down goes Walsh again. Welcome to the WAC conference at the 27-yard line.
And who else but Jimmy Bellamy?
You know what? That sack allowed him. He has sacked a quarterback at every school this season except 2, Colorado State and New Mexico.
So quick there, his defensive line position.
6'3", 246. 16 sacks on the season. It is 4th down at 27 for Brigham Young. Walsh in the shotgun. A high snap. He fumbles the football. And he did the smart thing. Just laid on it. And the Utes will take over at their own 40-yard line.
You don't have your normal long snapping, or wood long snapping, but shotgun snapping center in there on that one. How was that for a drive? They started out down deep in Utah territory, and that drive went nothing but backward.
After this football game, we'll have a post-game show, and the Cougars will receive their senior blankets. 7:32 to play. It's 48-17. We'll be back.
My great-grandfather was 15 when he left to seek his fortune in the Alaskan gold rush. His journals were our roadmap to adventure. Today we crossed the Matanuska Pass, the most unforgiving country you ever laid eyes on. I've heard thunder on a clear day, seen ice that don't melt even in June, and a sun that never sets.
There are things more precious than gold, and from the look on their faces, I think we found it.
Toyota 4Runner. When it comes to adventure, no one goes as far as we do.
Some folks might think it's a bit unusual to travel nearly 700 miles to Utah just to buy furniture. But those folks probably never bought furniture at R.C. Willey like we have.
They're home.
What makes the furniture store that special? Huge selection, their own credit, and the people, they just treat us right. Sure, there are other furniture stores, but there's only one I'd drive 700 miles to.
If all you want are tools that last through this weekend's project, buy them anywhere. But if you want tools that will perform for a lifetime, backed by service and experience, there's only one place to buy them: Industrial Supply. Save now on Cooper tools, the difference between work and workmanship. The Lufkin 2125 tape measure was designed with craftsmen in mind. 25-foot tape now, $10.99. New Plumb 20-ounce solid steel hammer, only $13.99. With snips, just $8.39. There's only one place to buy the right tools: Industrial Supply.
Back at Cougar Stadium, the Utes start up at their own 40-yard line with 7:30 to play. They hand off to Charlie Brown off the right side. He'll pick up 5 down near the 45-yard line. Charlie Brown, a sophomore out of San Diego. So his per yard carry average excellent, almost 5 a pop. They don't throw a lot to Charlie Brown.
This Utah team has some good young talent, Charlie Brown being one of those. I think this team has a good future.
Now you look at Williams and Brown, both just sophomores.
Right.
Whistles, that ball whistled dead.
Charlie Brown, the ball carrier.
Cougars have made some changes in their defensive lineup. Giles will walk out. Ferguson, number 36, at linebacker.
That one came out, but it was after the forward progress was already stopped and Charlie Brown was on the ground. Hey, you look at this Ute team. They're juniors and sophomores across that starting offensive line. And
yeah, their entire offensive line will be back next year. The Cougars are looking at a rebuilding scheme of things. But, you know, with BYU, they just keep pumping them in. You got Brumfield, who will be back, along with Pilgrims, who's played some today, Mike Impey. And the lone returner next year will be Gary Pay, the center.
And if you want to have a guy returning that's going to be the only guy in line, you want that center back. He kind of calls the fronts and calls the blocking assignments out. So he'll be able to bring that group together. And you can never underestimate Roger French, the offensive line coach. He seems to be able to mold a good group year after year.
Eli Herring will be back. There's Rocky Beagle, the senior. He's just walked off the field. Boy, he's had a career at Brigham Young. Steve Young to punt. Clark takes it in the bright sunlight at the 17, and he wrestles up to the 25-yard line.
Getting out to the 25-yard line.
I wouldn't be surprised to see if Joe Evans doesn't get some playing time here before this game's over. Timeout. We'll be back. Lavelle Edwards in his 20th season. Will he stay after this year, Blaine Fowler? What's your gut feeling?
I don't know. There's some rumors. Rumors going around that he may retire after this season. I talked to him at the beginning of the season. He seemed to want to stay until some of the kids he's recruited, the Willis's and Ottawais, were done. I don't know. That's still up in the air, I would think.
Cougars run the football down to the 25-yard line. Lavelle Edwards will post his 183rd win. And Joe Evans checks in at quarterback. Now you talk about young men put in a tough situation, Blaine. You know, you back up the Heisman Trophy winner. And you know you don't get a lot of playing time. And then you go with what has to be the future in John Walsh, and Evans, a senior. It's pretty tough to find some playing time. But he's handled it with class.
It really has, and he's a smart player, he's a competitor. He's pushed the quarterbacks in practice, and I mean, that's a tough role to play.
Joe skips out of trouble, launches a ball downfield, got a man, and picked off. Utah with the interception at the 41-yard line. And the interception by Ed Miller. Well, for each BYU football game this season, Geneva Steele has asked the KSL sports team to select the outstanding player of the game and name him Geneva Steele man of the game. Well, I tell you,
First down for Utah.
it's like a clean sweep 4 weeks in a row. That young man is Ty Detmer. He bypassed the 15,000 career passing yard mark today. Ended up with nearly 400 yards passing, 5 touchdown throws. He ran one in. Ty Detmer, the Geneva Steele man of the game. And Geneva will contribute $1,000 in his name to BYU's athletic scholarship program. Utah fires it downfield. Kennard breaks it up. The pass intended for Sean Williams. Jason Woods has an arm.
No doubt about that. That was another moon ball up there, bring rain ball, but David Kennard was in good position. He kind of got picked on there, came in as a nickel back in the first half, got picked on a little bit and came through very well, played well, and he's out here making plays here at the end of the game.
Ty Detmer is savoring some of those last moments along the bench, I'll tell you. Congratulations from his teammates. And you know what he'll say in that Steel Man interview post-game? I couldn't have done it without him. Nobody shares credit faster or quicker than Detmer.
Jason Woods, and he'll go underneath. Tackled by Big Brad Hunter, number 98. Hunter started the season at the right tackle spot, injured in that first game, Blaine, against Florida State. Randy Brock comes in, a freshman, and boy, Brock was tough to move out of there, and Hunter's had to play second fiddle all year.
They've got great depth on the defensive line. Hunter, a good player. He's just a junior, so he'll be back next year. And Brad Hunter, quite a punter.
Yes.
He really has a good leg, and will probably handle the punting duties next year.
6'6", 270. He should be able to punt the ball with that type of size. Just under 4.5 minutes. ROWLEY makes the catch. Watch him run. Flags are down. Tackled at the 40.
We're going to see it. They'll either call it a clip or a hold. Henderson up trying to make the tackle on ROWLEY was hit and kind of dragged down from behind. So that one will come back.
Utah will finish up the season with 7 wins, 5 losses. But the 7 wins this year are the most since '85, and that's when they went 8-4 under Jim Fossil.
Holding on the offensive team. Penalties decline. 4th down.
You know, I tell you, we're looking at a situation, Blaine, too, in this area of the country where each and every year you like to see this Utah-BYU game actually decide something in the conference race or a bowl bid. Today, classic example of maybe what's to come.
I would certainly hope so, Craig, and I think that BYU's program is where it wants to be at this point. Utah is up and coming, and McBride, I think, is where he wanted to be this year and will continue to improve.
Brad Clark takes it in the shadows at the 17, still on his feet. This young guy never quits at the 25-30, 35-40. And he stumbles out of bounds. They'll mark him out at the 46-yard line. Clark was trapped back around this 20-yard line, made a nifty move, got outside, and he's deceptively fast. And, you know, we mentioned him at the top of the telecast, and it seems like every time there's a special teams play, we mention Brad Clark's name. It's not often a special teams player stands out as much as Brad Clark, but he's just such a hustler, always around the ball, and he's fearless back there on returns. He's a junior out of Peru, Indiana, as you can see, so he'll be back to anchor those special teams again next fall. Back at quarterback is Walsh for Brigham Young, number 8. Yeah, there will be a battle come spring to see who takes over for Ty Detmer. There's a lot of young men waiting just to see what they to show what they can do.
It would seem that Walsh would have the upper hand at this point with the playing time. Not a lot of quality playing time, mostly mop-up duty this year, but he's gotten the reps in practice.
You know how many quarterbacks BYU had out at the beginning of the year for practice?
9.
No, more, 12.
That's amazing. And there are still some who are yet decided if they're going to commit to Brigham Young or not. As Atuaya breaks it off the left side at the 30, and he's tackled out of bounds at the 23-yard line. Ed Miller and Atuaya had to be separated. A little jawing going on. Under 3 minutes left in this game.
And what a backfield that will be for the Cougars next year with Atuaya at fullback and Willis at tailback. Atuaya, the player of the year in Hawaii last year from Laie, Kahuku High School, Mark Atuaya.
Now for Utah, Martin, the linebacker, is a junior. Alston's a junior. Sharif Shaw, just a sophomore. Kind of quiet today, Sharif. He's been banged up a little bit. Atuaya back to the ground. Miller is just a sophomore. Swanson a sophomore. To lose Levon Edwards this year. The Luther Ellis, he's a freshman. My, oh my.
The biggest loss on defense, of course, will be Anthony Davis, but Sharif Shaw, he sure doesn't play like a sophomore. He plays like a seasoned veteran, and they'll be glad to have him back next year. Nucleus for a good defense again.
Well, he had a big year. 8 sacks, interception, ran one back for a touchdown. Walsh and the Cougars down at the Ute 7, second down 5. Clark gets the handoff, and he is
number 31, the ball here.
Stopped at the 16. The stop made there by number 15, Cedric Crawford. Under 2 minutes here at Cougar Stadium. A Holiday Bowl bid is awaiting the Cougars in their locker room, and for the Utes, they'll just have to wait and see what happens. It will be BYU and Iowa, December 30th at Jack Murphy.
The board of directors and a BYU alumnus.
Iowa will probably be ranked in the top 10 at game time, so big challenge ahead for the Cougars.
Grind them out football. Atuaya stopped at the 15, a pickup of 1. It'll be 4th down and 3. And the clock coming up on a minute.
Look at the folks that make it all happen behind the scenes for us.
Hey, it's been a good year on KSL. A fun football season. Blaine Fowler, our first year together, appreciate it. Had a lot of fun with you.
Really enjoyed it. It's been an exciting season.
We'll be starting up our basketball schedule here and not too far. We'll start off December 5th in Tulsa and go out and do a game in Harrisburg, Virginia against James Madison on the 7th. And Atuaya takes a shot from one number 46 to the other. And that's Kelvin Lambert, a flag down at the 17. Tell you, basketball in this state is going to be interesting. New things happening. Rhonda Beglin up at Weber State, Conn Smith at Utah State. You know what's going to happen with the Utes once Wright Ulch and Josh Grant get healthy at the U. They're ranked 14th in the preseason polls. And, of course, Cougars, without Sean Bradley, with a few surprises, folks. Just wait. This is going to be a run-and-gun Cougar basketball team this year.
They've got some three-point shooters that can hit from the outside, and a great addition out of junior college. And Kevin Nixon from UVCC, who played at Northwestern his freshman year and was a good player as a freshman in the Big Ten. Had a chance to catch that game last night, and he showed me something. I think Utah is a legitimate top 10 team this year, especially when you have Wright Ulch and Josh Grant healthy. So Utah basketball should be exciting this year.
41 seconds left, and the Utes will run it out.
Smith, the ball carrier.
The ball carrier, number 25 for Utah, Demir Smith.
Demir Smith, a senior for the Utes, so this is his last appearance, barring a Copper Bowl bid for the Utes.
10 seconds left, the final play of the game. Smith will carry it, and he's tackled down and stopped at near the 19-yard line. And that's it. The Cougars and Utes, the 67th meeting between these two teams. Lavelle Edwards walks across the field to find Ron McBride. In the first half, really a dandy. The Cougars dominated in the third quarter to pull away, and they win a trip to the Holiday Bowl. 48-17 the final here in Provo. We'll come back. Pre-game show to follow. We'll be back. As the seniors at Brigham Young receiving their blankets, and Blaine Fowler, you can relate. It's a time that you'll never forget.
It really is. You look around the stadium, you've played there for 4 or 5 years for some of these guys that are redshirted. You just heard a big roar from the crowd, Ty Detmer getting his senior blanket, and it's kind of a time to reflect and to think about the memories you have here playing in Cougar Stadium.
You know, this was a game that really started off a bit strange. A couple of turnovers by BYU. I don't know if it was pressure, but really the Utes came out and just hit and hit hard, took advantage of those turnovers, turned it into points. It was a great first half, but then the third quarter came around, and the Cougars turned Utah's turnovers into points, and then they just pulled away.
It really was a flip-flop of the first half. The difference being Ty Detmer and the BYU offense never got rattled. Even though Utah jumped out to an early lead, they had that confidence in the huddle. They thought that they could do it. They continued to play on offense, built the lead, and then when those breaks went against Utah in the third quarter, it just opened the ball game up, and Utah was too far to come back.
All right, Doug Miller is down in the middle of all the celebration, along with Lenny Gomes, who we're going to nickname Mr. Interception. He picked off a couple today. Hey, Lenny, you're just a sophomore. You got to wait a couple of years before you get your blanket.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. You know, we had a talk last night, and I said, you know, when I'm a senior, I want this game, so we did it for the seniors today.
Tell me what happened, Lenny. Late in the first half, Mike Richmond draws a bead. You're right in the middle. It hits you in the chest, and it was like a gun went off.
I don't know what happened. I'm still wondering. I just put my hands up. D linemen are taught to put their hands up, and the quarterback's looking towards you. Put my hands up, and it hit me right in the gut, you know, and it just stuck. So.
Were you going for the goal line?
Oh, no way. All I saw was red, and I just fell down.
Second half. Could you believe it? I mean, another ball right in the middle.
Oh, no. This must be my day. Thank you, God.
Lenny, tell me just about the tone of play on the defensive line today. Read the first half, just how the momentum of the game went.
We came out, you know, and a little hurt from last week. We had a bad performance, but, you know, kind of put us in a hard spot, but we came out and we came out with 10 points, and then we knew, hey, we can control those guys, and then we did. You know, after that, I don't think they didn't score no more. We shut them down, so played a great game today.
Second half, as you came out, what did LaBelle have to say regarding just the defense, the pace of the game?
Oh, he said, hey, thanks, defense, you know. You guys are playing great. And then he said, for as many mistakes as we made, we've been playing a real good game. Just keep it up. 30 more minutes, we got the WAC championship to ourselves.
Greg, I'll tell you, a lot of emotion, a lot of happiness on this field as the seniors celebrate, receive their blankets this evening. You hear the crowds cheer, but I'll tell you, nobody happier than Lenny Gomes right here. 2 interceptions, no touchdowns today, Lenny, but what a successful day.
Oh, yeah. It's great. Good day.
Lenny, before you go, just one final question, if I could. After the start, you know, against Penn State, UCLA, and Florida State, now you got Iowa in the Holiday Bowl, a chance to really let that defense shine against what may be a top 10, 15 team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm licking my chops. And you know what? They run the ball, and boy, do I love when they run at me. So bring it on, Iowa. We get our shot and prove to the nation that we can play the big teams.
Lenny Gomes, congratulations. Great season, great game, man.
Thank you.
Greg, back to you.
All right. Boy, is Lenny Gomes an interviewer or what?
No lack of enthusiasm for Lenny Gomes there. He says, bring Iowa at him. He likes to cover the run, and I believe he will.
Yeah, I do too. He's going to stuff the middle. We're going to step aside as the celebration on the field for the seniors continue. The Cougars going to the Holiday Bowl. They win it against Utah. 48-17. Play of the game, and we'll talk to Ken Schmidt, the defensive coordinator, after this timeout.
I've spent a lot of time up in the Wild Blue yonder. That's a place where up to 42% of the heat from your gas furnace can go if it's 10 years old. Change to a new day and night plus 90 gas furnace. It's 96% fuel efficient.
For details on Day and Night's $200 U.S. savings bond offer, see these participating Day and Night dealers: K&P Heating in Provo and Northwest Heating and Air Conditioning in Richfield.
Day and night, the right stuff to last.
Some folks might think it's a bit unusual to travel nearly 700 miles to Utah just to buy furniture. But those folks probably never bought furniture at R.C. Willey like we have.
They're home.
What makes a furniture store that special? Huge selection, their own credit, and the people, they just treat us right. Sure, there are other furniture stores, but there's only one I'd drive 700 miles to.
I believe in sunshine, rainbows in the sky. I believe in baseball, mom and apple pie. I believe in freedom to be all I can be. I believe in people who believe in me.
The quality of service and the quality of materials that we offer our clientele has to be the best. Our reputation hinges on that being true. Cellular One had the same reputation. My Cellular One phone allows me to be more productive throughout my day because there are times that I very definitely have to be at certain places at certain times.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the court, our Utah
12 months interest-free financing on equipment with new activations through the end of the month.
Well, each week, Macy's presents the play of the game. Your best play is to shop at a Macy's throughout the year, and you'll save money on your overall grocery bill. Shop at all 4 Macy's locations. And here is this week's Macy's play of the game. It happened not once, but it happened twice. Lenny Gomes in the right place at the right time today, Blaine Fowler, and the big fella comes up with not 1, but 2 interceptions.
And this one, he mentioned it when we talked to him about it and asked him. He said, if the quarterback looks toward you and tries to throw the football, get your hands up and good things will happen. Hit him right in the gut. He said, I don't know why it came to me. It just did. He showed us his excitement after the game, and it was funny. You asked him, were you looking at the goal line? He says, oh, no, I saw a lot of red guys around me. I got down.
He is a big fella indeed, and just a sophomore. Let's go back down onto the field. BYU defensive coordinator Ken Schmidt, along with Doug Miller, and congratulations, Coach. Your team really shut them down in the second half.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, we did a nice job. We started off a little shaky, you know, a couple of bad breaks early, and then that threw about an 80-yard bomb on us, and after that, we did a nice job defensively.
Ken, over just behind us here, the Holiday Bowl committee has just presented this time an official bid to BYU. Can you relate a week ago the disappointment and also the exhilaration this afternoon?
Yeah, it's been double duty. You know, we get it last Saturday, and all of a sudden Sunday they say no, so that's all right. Twice isn't bad.
Tell me about the tone of defense there early and some of the frustrations. Special teams, a couple of miscues, and you're in the hole.
Yeah, I knew we'd be okay. You know, we just had to hang in tough, and we did. And like I say, the two when they got the ball down there and they threw the first, touchdown pass, that didn't bother me. And then the second one, that's no big deal. The one that kind of bothered me, we just kind of blew the cover, was that 80-yard pass. But after that, we got them settled in and did a nice job. Patrick Mitchell really did a great job for us today.
Giving up 600-something yards last week and 52 points and all those kind of things. What did you say this week? How did you address that?
Well, we just had to, pull back together. It's very rough when you lose 2 corners, in a week like that, and that put us in a real bind. We had to base up. We couldn't make any adjustments hardly during the game. Patrick was nervous, so we just had to sit there and play base. And when you do that, boy, once they find you, they got after us. But we made some adjustments this week, did some different things, and really the kids did a great job.
All right, look ahead to Iowa now. The matchup in the bowl that's apparent today with the Big Ten. How are you going to play against that kind of power in the running game?
Well, we're going to have to do a little bit better job than we did against the run in the second half. We got to look at the films, and we got to do a better job of controlling the line of scrimmage and make sure we keep our nose where it belongs. I think sometimes we got a little antsy and didn't gap control like we should have, but we'll be ready for Iowa.
This is your first year as defensive coordinator at BYU. Looking back over the season, how'd you do? What if you're grading your own performance, what do you score yourself?
That's a tough one. We played pretty decent all year. The only disappointing game was San Diego State. And that's just, like I say, you lose 2 corners. Sometimes those things happen. What do I give myself as a grade? Gee, I don't know. What do you think? B+, B-?
Passing, no doubt.
Yeah, there you go.
Bowler, you got any questions for Ken?
Coach, I was just going to ask you about the maturity of this team. I remember the Pigskin Classic. You put some kids in there that were green. Hunter got hurt early in that game. I'm sure you remembered. You put in Brock, Pitts, Gomes have come on. How's this team really matured in the last, 9 weeks?
Yeah, I think our front, like you said, our front has really done a nice job. They're still young bucks, they're redshirt freshmen and sophomores, and just done an outstanding job. We're going to be very tough, our front seven. We got to go out and recruit some defensive backs for next year, but our front's going to be very good next few years.
Ken Schmidt, congratulations on a successful year, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
All right, Doug Miller, Ken Schmidt, and boy, that defense of Brigham Young has come on. And he did mention they did lose a couple of defensive backs in Irvin Lee and Paul Pitts. They had a situation at a local store here in town, and conduct unbecoming to school policy. So today you put Patrick Mitchell in there, the freshman, and they came around and did okay.
He played a good game. The problem he had last week was that all of that happened so late in the week that Patrick Mitchell did not have a full week to get prepared. He probably did very little in practice that week. He was nervous in the game, and BYU didn't have a nickelback that had practiced all week to be ready to go in there, and so they were kind of in a situation where they weren't ready to play. Now this week, Patrick Mitchell with a whole week to play. Kennard came in and played very well at the nickelback, and it was a completely different situation. I think they'll do fine against Iowa in the Holiday Bowl.
All right, it's not far off either December 30th at Jack Murphy. We'll come back, look at the final stats of this game. The Cougars winning over the Utes this afternoon, 48-17.